I don't want to take too long time. I just like want to say that this was an incredible weekend and it was super cool. And if you're still asking after the right title and also the thumbnail what I'm talking about the World Championships Qualifier in Lille for the Alteredtcg. I was being able to cast it on my streaming channel together with my team, as well as some beautiful guests that joined in during the Sunday. This year will be only just like the Swiss bracket if I'm coming back from home and I've rested a little bit. I'm also going to cut out the rounds for the final day as well. So hi guys, I've enjoyed it. I hope you also enjoy it, like that it's going to be a little bit shorter tournament because in total it was like 10 hours. So yeah, I don't want to interrupt you too long, just like want to say that maybe if you missed out at some point what's going to be on in this 4 hours video. So have fun, I guess. Round one.
Hey, yeah, this is already
super cool.
I'm gonna see you later then.
Yeah, see you.
I'm loving the view that we have right off the bat.
It's looking so good.
This is players choosing their opening hands, and I'm already blown away by the organization that this requires. All right, so we have La Table Ronde against Joli Rouge Gauche to start it off. Looks like TCG versus Sigismar. Notably, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I was gonna say I think that the tumult is, I guess, backwards order compared to what you'd see on Board Game Arena.
But it's actually
like the Ortus recruit token. It looks like the Ortus recruit token is on the wrong side, or maybe it's just reversed from what we can see.
Yeah, I think it's
graphic. That's why. All right, we are seeing that a little bit in reverse. So do not be too surprised. The hero side is on the right for the bottom.
Okay, that's looking super clean. If this would be a clean feed, then it would be super clean. But this is like looking incredible. Just like look at that, also with the board, and we can see the starting player will be. They rolled the dice. Oh yeah, I forgot for the tumults, right? Because you can figure it out how the tumult's looking in. So we're going to see, it was super funny because we just like shared the negative win rate for Muna as whole. But actually, it's super funny that we see a Muna right now on the first table. I mean, just like unique-wise, looking super cool. Also, it's like the first time that we see the hand cards. Oh my goodness, Keelan.
Yeah,
we're seeing the hand cards.
I'm liking that a lot. I mean, I was in general very happy with predicting what players were looking to play and that sort of thing with what we're used to via spectating on Board Game Arena. But this does remove a lot of the secrets, which I think for the live broadcast is particularly nice, because other times it's really hard to understand exactly what's happening, especially when we have these views from much higher up. I mean, even just recognizing cards can be a little challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, it looks like a aloe vera that just got sabotaged away by a Ortus spy.
Oh yeah, that's totally agreeing to that. So I'm just like setting up the. Oh no, we don't need the casters thing, right? We're just like showing. We're just like watching the stream, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Before I do it tomorrow because then I know what's happening. So as you can see, yeah, the Ortus spy going to be played up as well as the. Sneezer Shroom. As we can see from the Muna hand, there's still like 2 uniques left, and this would be like, I feel like the first unique, is going to be play. It's the oh, can we read the effect? Oh yeah, oh awesome, that's cool. If you control 2 or more plants other than up to 1 target character, okay, gains anchored. Sadly, it's not the condition that we're going to see right now, but it still could be managing to just like going over. Oh no, it's also just like reworded. So both players actually going to decide for that. Okay, it's going to the reserve. What do you feel like? What Kakoba could this be in the hand?
Yeah, I'm really wondering as well. It's sort of hard to know. Sometimes they are card advantage Kakobas. I've definitely seen a lot of charge effects on Kakoba uniques that players love to play. My guess is that it's one of those bigger, splashier effects, but I could be entirely wrong. But this is a player, I believe Jolie Rouge Gauche is a member of Team Exalts, and I'm pretty sure they have good access to some of the best uniques, quite honestly, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something amazing out of them. And yeah, they are wearing that Exalts jersey.
Yeah. It's actually funny because Jolie Rouge Gauche was one of the winners from the last AQZ Championship Series, so super cool to see him on the first round. Guys, I think this is not an accident. This is a purpose. And talking about that, oh yeah, now I see the card views are actually just like reworded. Okay, all right, so let's go out. So Risi the Ogre will be going to start off by the Muna player La Table Ronde, going to be speed up as well. For our Sigismar right now, we can see there will be, yeah, not only the cards from the reserve right now to be played, as well as the Sandman, what is always like a super deep hit onto game plans, but we also just like see the teamwork training that could be working out super well. And the next unique is going to be show off, and this unique will be, yes, a Perfect, and it's like, I gain 1 boost, okay, and you may pay 1. If you do, you have target character with hand cost. Okay, it's when you play it from the reserve. But I feel like if you're going to start just like using the teamwork training right now, you could actually getting completely rid of the Sneezer Shroom, and with that also just like start to destroy the whole game plan, because right now our Tisha player don't got like any hand cards left and not mana left, so not any mana left, so whew. Let's see, but I don't know what the Kakoba actually is doing. Maybe it's also just like removing something. Let's see.
Yeah, okay, it does look like that Kakoba's coming down and immediately showing it off to his opponent as well to check out those effects. I'm sure we're going to get it momentarily as well. There it is. All right. This is a power play, and it's actually very similar to that Kakoba unique that we've talked about from Cladius before.
Yes.
Makes a Ordis recruit token in its expedition. And then if you control 4 or more characters, which is a very easy condition, at least when played from hand here, up to 2 target characters, each gain 2 boosts, and it's already on a 3/3/4, so that's just a ton of stats.
Yeah, agreeing to that. And so right now with that, our Ordis player will be able to just like move twice, also being able to block out the Muna player. The Muna player right now, I see in the face, it's hard. This is a hard matchup, and it's just like, please finish. I want to go back to the letter gameplay. I just want to go back to online gameplay where I don't need to face this many Sigismar. No, but actually it was like a nice quote from the chat on the stream that actually someone said like, hey, maybe Gorang and Tisha actually could run this tournament because of that many Sigismar players that maybe will be show up from like the results. But as we can see now, Sigismar is totally fine with that. And okay, we see the Yggdrasil as a common version. That is like super rare to play. But it's like not helping, yes?
It's kind of a really sweet card and can be really powerful, but this sort of situation, it is so doomed. It is unreal. This isn't even the rare version, so it won't be able to pick them up another card. This is just the common. It draws the opponent a card when you play it from hand, and that is it. It's just some really good stats, but we already know there's so much removal here for the Sigismar. This, I believe, right here is just going to be the death knell. Playing out a Ordis Attorney to start things off, and they're working with a handful of removal.
Yes, agreeing to that. And as we can see, playing out the daughter, but maybe just like because of stat rise, so being able to potentially block out the... Is it the hero side? Yeah, no, it's the companion side. Yeah, I need to go with the Ordis recruit. Yeah.
Currently the markers or the tokens that are representing hero and companion are in reverse. So our hero side is the right hand side.
Yeah.
And as well as where the actual tokens for each faction are. Like typically, I guess if you're used to playing on Board Game Arena, you'll be seeing this as your tokens will be closer to you. Yeah. But currently we're seeing the Muna ones on bottom and the Sigismars on top. And again, Sigismar now just a double advance away from taking it. And we know there's no cards left at all for the Teja.
That's true. And with it, I've got a feeling like that this is like... it seems too good for our Sigismar right now, coming to that into the play. And even if the daughter will be there and also the Ogre will be able to boost it up, we still have like the Kakoba that could be potentially being... and there's like the Teamwork training, alright. Okay, so this seems like super duper good right now for our Sigismar right now. And
yeah,
it's going to be a pass by. Okay, it's going to be a pass by. And a draw a card, so yeah.
TCG did survive the day there, at least, though. I think oftentimes when you know there's a Sandman in hand here for the Sigismar player, you're very much assuming that when there's only expensive plays coming out from the TCG, that it would just be lights out, even though it's a double advance that was necessary. So even just surviving that day was, I think, more than I would expect for the TCG there. But realistically, I don't know how they can ever come back from this position. We've seen the text on that unique as well, and I don't think it's going to do much to help in this case. Playing out an Aloe Vera now, and of course, that Daughter of Yggdrasil is a pretty big threat. It does stall really well, but not when there's already removal for it.
Yeah, that's totally agreeing on that. It's like a super cool question. So we can see that the Autostripper as a small pass by, I feel like this is like one of the super hard things, especially if you're not being like, I would say like on the win side as an opponent against Sigismar, because right now Sigismar has like a potential, yeah, this is the GG, because maybe, wait, can we stop? We can, no, no way. Okay, here are the hand cuts. Okay, now we can stop. No, hey! Okay, guys, okay, forget it. But before we go directly into the analyze task, for this moment, this is like one of the things that's like super crazy. Coach Boda. Guys, so have fun with Runefolk and me for maybe like half of the time, because then I need to go. Taking my package, because then I will not see it like for a whole week, because the store has not the best open time, so they're checking out everything. But Julian, I've knew the name. He also playing
quite active.
Yeah,
I believe it's also an Altered Aces player.
Yes, he's a member of Team
awesome,
Altered Aces.
Awesome. I've talked a little bit with him, so that's super cool.
Oh, nice.
To see like the faces, yeah, because I if you ride with like almost everyone, then you see the faces, you're like, oh, okay, that's how it look like. So both of them going to be prepared the game up, and it's going to be start, and as you can see, Rune, we have the starting hand.
Yeah, and we do already see that tiny gin in hand for that party here, and that has to be a good opener. And is there a Shenlong in the hand? No, it's a Hunger. Okay,
it's a Hunger. It's a Hunger. But this sneaky Hunger is going to be like super interesting. I mean, also for Kocha. Besides the unique that we can see, is like a super cool starting hand with like the Haven Bouncer going to be mannered as well, keeping the 2 fairy. I mean, it's like the where we can see is the starting player. Where we can see who's the starting player.
I think we can't see it yet, but okay. It seems like a very weak opening hand here for the Atsadi, since they do either have a 2/2 turn 1 player.
Oh yeah, Kocho starting player. Yeah, Kocho starting player.
Okay, and just a tiny gin for the Atsadi, so
it's
looking a bit rough here.
Yeah, looking a little bit rough.
So
nice. We see the Twinkle.
Demanded decisions.
Yeah, that's like super cool. As you can see right now, there's like a super tough decision, so the Hunger will going to be discarded. I mean, it's like a cool decision. I mean, there was like a potential with like the Acolano Milk Hunger gameplay to see, and we still can see the hand. Oh, that's still like super crazy. It's still like super crazy. And okay, keep the Tiny Chin, the Physical Training, and the Acolano Milk. Alright. So the Buddha will come out, the Conqueror will going to be the starting player for that. And as we can see, the first unique is going to be played, and let's see which unique it is. Because it's going to be shown up. It's a Fire Rabbit that can do the following things, guys. The following things.
Surely.
Yeah, we were shortly seeing it. If not, it's not a big problem, because I can tell you right now that this can give fleeting to himself. I'm being super sure. Okay. The Fire Rabbit can be giving fleeting to himself, and but he actually just like decided to keep it like without the effect, as it seems like. So I would be super interesting. So those cards were actually going to be showed up, guys. So don't worry for that. I think there's just like a checkup or something from the French. Maybe we can. Oh no, we cannot hear the. Okay, he's drawing a card. Oh no, it's resupply, and it's an Arclute. And
so it's a AQZ Kojo list.
Yeah, I mean, we know an AQZ Kojo player, Lynchbjörn, and if you control a fleeting character, resupply, otherwise exhaust, at dusk you may have regained fleeting if you do draw a card. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So right now it's the turn for Julian, and I feel like the Tiny Jin can be placed down, right? Also would be able to just like progress on the companion side still. On the hero side, I'm sorry guys, it's reworded. On the hero side still. So let's see. True Infinite? Yeah, here we go.
Going to just play. It's already 2 for 1 here for the Kojo players. And that Atsadi, we have seen the opening hand, and the opening hand is just too weak to deal with 2 bodies. But fortunately for them, the Fire Rabbit has that weak mountain stat, so this Tiny Jin is able to win that expedition for himself. And now flips. Oh, I thought flips into that forest expedition, but no.
No, it's like super many changes.
Okay, yeah, a lot of changes here.
A lot of changes, but it's still like super duper fine, as we can see right now.
And we do see the mana decisions here, and is that the second hunger already drawn for the Atsadi here?
Oh, yes.
Is that correctly?
There's like another hunger for us. No.
Oh no, it's just a Swift Jin. Okay.
It's the Swift Jin, but the Swift Jin could be pretty good right now. So I mean, we know that like the Tiny Jin is still being like in the reserve, and in the combination with either the physical training or like the Akulanomic, but I would say like it's like a physical training into the Tiny Jin. Oh no, it's actually using the scout effect for that. Okay. Yeah, I forgot the scout effect. Yeah.
It probably just manas itself and then still gets to play the Tiny Jin here. So the Tiny Jin
that's true. It's a ready mana orb. Yeah, it's a ready mana orb. I forgot it.
Yeah, and therefore can likely just still play that Tiny Jin here. Yeah. It is a bit of a gamble that there's no sabotage here from the Kojo side, but we have seen that there isn't. So that is at least positive here. And Kojo thinking a bit about where to play that Fire Rabbit. I would expect that they also afterwards just play out that. Well, they do have 2 options.
And, play out that mess. Super
play out the mess from hand.
Yes.
Or just the Pathfinder to block out that Tiny Jin here again. So there's the first decision for the Kojo, what they prioritize, and I think I would just go for the mess.
Yeah, the mess is a super good idea, agreeing on that. They roll dice to decide of X. Yeah, that's true. They roll the dice because you can figuring out just like by the background image which expedition actually is going to be under there. Good luck to the German players. Yeah, we're also getting like good luck. We know that Bird is right now on the first table, on the first seat, so good luck to that. And the mess is like a super good decision right now because it's just like a 1-for-1 trade. Kogu as Kojo is being 1 expedition ahead still, so there is like not a big big compensate or something like that because the Buddha will coming to the next turn as well. And as we can see, the mess is going to be placed. Right now, at dusk, you may have begun fleeing if you do draw a card. I think they discussed now if he's being allowed to using the effect, actually. But it's not like that, because you can't give...
Yeah, we know that by now. This has been discussed recently on the AWorld server. And we got the confirmation from Kohlrabi that this one can't get... so the effect doesn't activate if it already has fleeting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is the thing, and we saw a little bit by Coco. I mean, I can lip read, guys. He was trying to explain that it's working, but then I think the judge say no, it's not working. So it is what it is. So as we can see right now, the mess at least got 1 counter for the hand of the card view of but Julian. Okay, it's going to be back. We see actually quite good cards that going to be there now. And also still like a good decision. I mean...
Actually, the Mighty Jin here is pretty good for
Yes, the Mighty Jin would be good.
6 mana now, right?
Yes.
So, and the Mighty Jin is... Well, it's quite weak for them on the companion side.
Yeah.
But on the hero, it's in the mountain stat, so... But it contests that Buddha token, I guess. But yeah, it's probably, you can just play it together with the Acolano milk and say, well, it gains fleeting, but I just want to mana it anyway, and therefore you don't really lose a lot.
And as we can saw as well, the Fire Rabbit also got mana from Koku here, and so we see the Tiny Chin as well as the Bravos Teresa as well as the I only have like the German name sometimes in head. Yeah, the Trailblazer. I only have like the German name sometimes in head. Super hard to switch if I'm not seeing
the German names. Okay.
Yeah.
No clue of the German names.
Yeah. It's like if you're playing with a lot of new German players, then you're using the German names instead. So the Haven Serum are going to be placed down, really fitting really good into the hero side right now. Just like for you in the chat, it's going to be reworded. So actually, it's just like the companion side is on the other side, but the expeditions are still correct. So it's only just like the tokens that going to represent. It's like different. For now, we see that the call out from Rune actually working out. So the Mighty Chin going to be placed on the hero side. I mean, right now there is still like 3 mana left, and decided to play
the milk first.
Yeah, and it's going
on 3 mana here. Oh, true. He's still on 3 mana because he had Swiftgen Ramp plus Tiny Ramp.
Yes.
So he can still play out the physical training here and boost that card up to a 7/7.
Yeah, there was like the 1 mana up for that, and then going to be boosted up the Mighty Chin, going to a 7/7/7, being able to progress now, and with the 1 mana left. I mean, what actually going to be right now is you can play the Tiny Chin, and then you can actually block it, but then there's like the problem that it's actually just like overrelating like the reserve, and already, even if the Haven Seringer would be able to draw a card, right? It's just like the fact that you need to discard 1 card, and I feel like all 3 cards, but he's actually going for it. But I mean, it makes like sense at some point, right? Just like to block it out. Yeah.
I don't think just stalling out the Atzadi is what... So I think, Atzadi does care about expeditions, but it cares about expeditions way less than other factions. And you as Kojo, I feel like you should prioritize just your own card advantage here, and discarding 2 from reserve. Well, they do have at least the mess, so they get a bunch of counters on there and will always get a resupply, so they don't need to care that much about their hand resources because they do have that mess, but still, it's now a tough decision on what you actually discard here.
I mean, right now, if it's just like to the state that it's...
Serengar was fleeting, so
it's getting draw a card, it's drawing a card. It came out from the last turn, from the resupply, from the Fire Rabbit unique. And so I feel like actually he decided to discard the Arcload, what would make sense for the current state of the game right now, because the Arcload will being just like too late to get activated. And when I leave the expedition zone, you may put the top card of your deck in your mana zone. And so with that right now, okay, he's going to keep the Arcload, but maybe also like for the boost thing. So super interesting choice right now. Let's see how this will going to be worked out. I mean, also deciding to just like replace the but it makes sense from like the most cases.
To ask if there will be the Eat Me Energy Bar plus Sakurabu combo in this Atzadi list, and
it is. We see the combo for those who don't know the combo. So basically, if you play the Eat Me Energy Bars and then the Sakurabu onto the Expeditioner, and it's gained gigantic. Also, the effect from the Sakurabu can activate it twice. So both expeditions, you can at least choose 2 expeditions or like 2 times to just like moving back. It's like hurting a lot, guys. I can tell you, it's feel not good to play against it. It's not the first time that I'm seeing this combination, and I'm already getting scared from that. But Julian still needs to decide which thing he's going to be mana. I mean, need to consider that he's going to be the first player, so could also just like play out the Havner, the Bouncer, I'm sorry guys, also could be able to play out the Bouncer to just like discard 1 of the cards in the reserve of Kogu. So let's see how this will going to be out. And we see at least the mana is going to be activated. And it will be... the Bouncer and the Tiny Chin is going to be arrayed. That's cool.
Tiny Chin, cool. Quite a solid line.
Yes.
And now
counters,
You just love talking today. I almost whenever I want to say, I feel like
I'm sorry.
You're again, like you want to take the next.
You know, I need to talk like the whole day, so I'm into it. I'm sorry, Rune. I don't want to interrupt you. To continue.
Yeah,
it's all your turn. It's all your turn.
And we do already see the resupply of the mess, and that is a pretty sweet resupply. And yeah, this Koja is looking strong so far. Has so many options, so many cards in hand. Has that perpetual resupply of the mess, and yeah, I feel like this is already kind of looking like a rough game here for the Atsadi maybe. But yeah, they now have to kind of figure out a way to deploy that Eat Me Energy bar onto the board without losing too much to set up their Sakurabu. But I feel like that might become a bit too hard here. We do see the Upload here come out, but how much mana does the Koja have left? Is it just... It's just 2 mana, right? So the bouncer can be played here and just go 1 for 1, I think.
Yeah, could be for that. We need them for I'm well caffeinated today. Pandy took too many stimulants. yeah, it could be. So receive for Bachurian, there's still like 6 mana left. So the Sakurabu cannot be played out right now. I mean, it's just like, because it's going to be exhaust in that way, the only chance right now it's going to prepare like the Eat Me Energy bars, or even just like play out the Warrior, right? So it's like the 2 decisions. What would you say would be like a good decision right now?
Well, I think knowing
beside that result, but would you also do that same?
Yeah, I think I would also just go for the Warrior here, just putting out 2 stats. You know, Koja does have a lot of 3 stats spiking ones, and you don't really want to give them a double advance here. So I think I would also just play out that Warrior from hand, since for 2 mana, I think it's quite hard. So I think there's nothing that beats this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a safe play, but yeah, you would have probably preferred playing out the energy bar here, but I think you just can't afford to.
We see right now that it's going to be closer and closer for the Kocho, being like super ahead, and with the expeditions, the mass also getting like enough counters for the upcoming day. But right now, the combo can be played out, right? So this will be looking super stressful now for Coco. He don't know what's happening, and the hand don't seems like it's actually going to be working against it. So,
do we see a prototype here in the hand?
Yeah, it's a prototype.
It is not the on-play removal counter from a card you control. It's just from hand. Put the top card of your deck in your mana zone. Yeah, that's still decent. Cool. I've definitely seen some prototypes that do have that from reserve ability as an error, and those are very sweet. But I think the prototype just went to mana, right?
And you can see right now on Bachurian's face. I mean, you also know that I can read faces. He's ready for the combo. He is super ready for the combo. Or he's just like waiting out for the combo. I mean, could also.
It's basically a celebration day, but you get to deploy the energy bar onto the board without a threat. So yeah.
So I mean, this is like the ultimate
shiny cards, and
I see the shiny
they
cards.
Look so good.
They're looking really good.
So good.
I've tried out my shiny cards yesterday the first time, and it was super. It was super awesome to play.
I still need to do that one, but I do think that I will get a chance to maybe test a little bit in person soon. As soon as the player that's on Lille right now is returning, and we get to play some test games. So I'm looking forward to that. And they'll be a bit sad.
It's super interesting, actually.
Is he on 11 mana?
Yeah, Bachurian actually. Oh, he's on 11 mana. That's right. And he actually decides to just like wait out for that, as it feels like. I mean, he could still play it, just like to see or to check up quickly if there could be any removals or just like discard abilities going to be. But as Reno right now from Kogu, there's like not anything at all, just like sitting down here on the hand. So this is actually just like, but Julian, you have like a free road right now to activate this ability, but also still have like the just like the possible choice to just like make sure that Coco right now plays out everything that he needs to run to do double progress, but still could be like with the warrior and in the combination with the physical training, also being able to almost block out a whole expedition. So it's still like a chance that maybe Bajurian thinks of playing around that. Yeah, and
from reserve plus that eat me energy bar, so there are a ton of stats possible here.
Yes.
But I could also just see now that... actually, what do you go for here? I think playing out...
I mean, there's like a trinket in hand.
Super... Yeah, the playing out the warrior here is super, super risky, so I wouldn't think that is actually the line he takes.
And he can
reduce that energy bar here first, yeah.
Okay.
But therefore, if the Sakurabu is played, it is fleeting.
And he's going to pass, as it seems? It seems the coach actually passed. So
Coach passed here?
It just like the hand reactions are like that of like, hey, go on and stuff like that. Sadly, we can listening to that. But no, okay, he didn't pass. On other TCGs, actually, guys, if you during this type of stuff without concept, no, it seems like that. But no, he's actually such a play out, so the Sakurabu will be there. Because I was like, if the coach actually decided now to just like pass out, then you could actually just like play out the warrior, right? But we will see the Sakurabu will going to be onto the board. And he knew it. Look at the coach, he knew it.
I feel like I would have still preferred just playing out the warrior, even though you make that energy bar go to reserve.
Yeah.
I think this energy bar might have just also been played on the wrong expedition.
Yeah.
Since therefore, if you want to contest that companion side, which you incentivize that your opponent doesn't play into, you're losing the energy bar when you try to contest the Buddha with the warrior. So. Yeah, I think there was better line possible, but yeah, it's hard to judge, of course, and now it still goes 1-for-1, therefore, but at least gets that Sakurabu, and I think the overlay just doesn't get the Sakurabu yet.
Yeah,
we will see that change soon, but yeah, actually, I think that was that the first counter the Azadi got here.
It was not the first counter, it was the second counter actually, because the Swifty Chin, the Swift Chin also did like a good job onto that. I also feel like it maybe the warrior would be like more of like the options to just like progress and then afterwards to use the Sakurabu effect, right? But also just like Bajuri needs to always consider like the remove hits and stuff like that to see what's happening. I mean, right now, as you can see, there is just like the Eat Me energy bars left, and also the Arcolano Milk as well as the Warrior, and we see like the Trinket.
The energy bar was drawn of the Azadi ability, right?
Yes. It was drawn by the Azadi ability. So let's see. I mean, it's just like another one. It's just like another Sakurabu, and then guys, we see it again. It's like...
Why is the Arcolano Milk here in reserve?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, did Bajurian progress on both expeditions here? With a 5/5/5?
Yes, he did. Indeed, it was a boost. It was a boost up. Yeah, true. Raya like both of them. Okay, he just like deciding now, and so we see the Arcolano Milk and the Haven Warrior were going to be there, and we see the Duo of Crit and the next
on-play prototype.
And this on-play, I mean, guys, they're standing like something in French and something in French as well. And oh no, we got the English. Oh, that's cool. You may spend one counter from a card you control, ready 2 mana ops, always nice. If you have 10 or more mana ops, you may return target character to its owner's hand. That's good. But I feel like the Twinkle, yeah. But I feel like the Twinkle could be like a changer.
Yeah, the Twinkle is
somehow.
You don't expect that card, especially if you don't know the lists. I think this Twinkle here. Unfortunately, the Koja isn't on double advanced game point anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Twinkle, of course, a complete game changer, especially in these types of situations when your opponent doesn't expect it and plays one big threat.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking a bit rough here for the Azadi going up into that Twinkle. But yeah, I don't see them playing around this card. So yeah, it might be rough, but at least they are ahead and not on double advanced point here.
Yeah.
Kind of setting up a hunger play here. So the opponent definitely has to think about that.
That's true. Okay, so right now, yeah, it's going to be the first turn of Julian as well. So we see the... okay. Pathfinder is going to be played out, and we see directly the Haven Warrior comes into the field, getting the boost out of the Economic, and something else is coming. Oh yeah, the... something... oh no, it was just like a dice. It's going to be choose.
Yeah, it's the boost. And I was thinking here on how you order your next play for Bajullion. Do you play your Eat Me Energy Bar first, or do you play your prototype first? If you play the energy bar first, your prototype will get the boost, but also fleeting from the milk. So you might favor to just play the prototype first, draw the card, return a card to hand, and then afterwards play that energy. But let's see what the actual line is here for Bajullion.
Yeah, true to that. And George just like mentioned how awesome the setup is, and you're right, Jordan. It's like a super cool setup. But as always, if Caleb is doing a stream, we know this is going to be like high quality stuff going to be shared. And talking about high quality stuff, the enhanced prototype is going to be onto play, and with that actually, Bajullion would be able to actually ready 2 mana ops and could play out. Oh man, that's like now a good question. Would this be the game changer? I mean, there's still like a Tringle, right? So...
yeah.
oh man, it's super interesting, but Bajullion could take it.
He could also just return that prototype here for now, since that is a 4-mana play basically, but I'm not sure if you have enough mana then. And Bajullion is now thinking about what card to return most likely. And probably should draw first of the Atsadi ability to then see what options he gets, and
but he's actually decides
to return the Scuddy first before drawing, and then realizes, well, I can still draw. Or is
now
there's to the judge?
I think he's asking the question of drawing the card maybe, but it's not sure. And so actually, let's see how it's going to continue. So right now, Kogu is being on the turn. I mean, got enough mana left, but it's still like the thing actually what Bajullion prefer to...
I think Bajullion still needs to draw a card here, right? Counters on got reduced to 6.
Yeah.
And then gets to draw.
I also feel like that. I mean, we could be wrong, guys. We're like full board games arena players, so we don't need to know anything about roots. Board games will handle it most of the time. But actually, I'm also feeling like you should need to get a draw. But maybe like Keelan out of the analyze desk can also just like say yes or no. In that case, so let's see. So right now it's going to be the turn. The mass is going to be getting up 1 counter. Oh yeah, because of the deck. And as we can see, okay, the Haven Warrior is going to be placed out. And so the Haven Warrior will get the type, and just like stat rise, a Tringle, yeah, would be enough. So the Tringle, yeah, it's so brutal.
Will probably just be kept in reserve here for a second day, and that card is so good.
Yes.
Now's the question. No, Coach is also almost out of mana here, right?
Coach has only got like 1 mana left, so this would be still like a trade, because I think the...
no, it's a rare...
yeah, it's a rare.
It's a rare Tracer, so the Tracer advances as well.
Yes, true, because it's a 3/3, right? The prototype?
4/3/4, yeah.
Yeah, 4/3/4, but the prototype... okay,
4/3/4.
so this is a double progression. That's like super crazy. And I think with 1 mana left...
then.
Oh, that's true.
It's tight then, and there's a gigantic problem in that hero side here for Bajullion with that warrior.
But
that warrior will likely just be slapped again. Oh yeah, true.
Oh, he can reduce the cost of a card, right?
So so
Kocho is coming to clutch, yeah.
Blocks on that companion side, and now there's no answer for that warrior for the upcoming turn, right?
Yeah, there's like actually no answer, and the enhanced prototype can be just like played out again reducing like one of the counters being in play, being able then to hopefully getting the draw card, and then being able to just like get out and okay, we see the hunger. Alright guys, doesn't matter at all. I feel like the hunger could be...
The hunger isn't the best.
No.
The hunger actually, you can play TinyJin. You can.
Yeah.
Is there enough mana here to play?
Alteredtcg got 10 mana,
prototype.
6, then going into...
The hunger is gigantic here, so this is a gigantic problem, but we do see the mana eruption in hand for the coacher, so they have the answer. Oh, I feel like this is just over due to the mana eruption.
I hope the hunger will not be played out, but Julian, can you see in the eyes if he wants to play it out? Oh, he's keeping it. I feel there will be coming on the board, and the mana eruption will just like say goodbye.
Yeah, I feel like the mana eruption here will just take the game.
Yeah.
And
I also feel
this is a pretty nice snowman, just boosting up characters left and right. Oh yeah,
that is true. That is true.
Giving 2 boosts on the character join if you control a landmark. Yeah, this is nice.
This is totally awesome. The hunger now could be a nightmare, but the coach player have the answer for it. Yeah, usually it could be super, but when another joins control members, characters gains 2 boost. Okay, that's cool. That is a cool card. Yeah. Also working super well into the culture because the chances that you have it is like super high, like a landmark conditioner. And with it, it's now the turn of...
I'm a bit sad about the snowman, since snowman can have... Unless I am on water, I gain a sleep, and that keyword on this text is so absurd. Just getting 4 turns of boosting a character by 2.
Yeah, agreeing on that.
Crazy. But unfortunately, it is I gain fleeting, so not that much more powerful, but it's still nice, right?
Yeah, and also as we can see, the TinyJin will come out now, and was the prototype a 6/6? Did I remember it correctly? Yeah. It was a 6/6, okay. 6/6. And okay, that's very interesting. Don't see that quite often.
Yeah, it's a kind of cheesiest here. A bunch of rare slots that we do not usually see from coaches in that Twinkle Twinkle, and also here the Magic Slay. But yeah, I don't see a way for Bajillion if there's not the prototype going.
Yeah, the prototype needs to be play and then draw a card, because this is like the realistic chance. This is like the realistic chance, because if the hunger would be potentially play out right now, it's just like mana eruption and then goodbye at this point, and it would be super duper sad.
And the mana amount is enough for Azadi here to play out the prototype and then the hunger. Yes. There's 12 mana available to them. Playing the prototype will go down to 6, but they regain 2 due to that ability and will be on 8 again. So can play that to hunger afterwards. But hunger afterwards is just, well, it's not. Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's just like
losing cost. Well, it depends if the coach plays low costs enough. Coach is already on 6 mana and has to play 1 more card, and then needs to answer with the mana eruption. So I don't think this game will instantly be over, since Kojo will be out of mana, but it's still a sad day here for the Azadi.
Oh no, it's going to be the hunger.
Oh no.
It's going to be the hunger. Oh, that is sad.
Mana for prototype. I miscounted, right? He only has 3 untapped mana left.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is game.
But look at this coach, just like counting, just like with the smile and being like, yeah, okay. I mean, you can play it out. It's totally fine. But it's like 3 mana, no hand cards left, and this is game, guys. that is actually the game. So the prototype would be like a good.
It is a 14-14-14 hunger.
Yeah. The 14-14 hunger. Let's enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
To see what's going to be.
It is gigantic. It is a gigantic problem, but unfortunately 1 mana too little. And Kojo just has the answers here. 2 cards left. They perfectly remove plus put out one character.
Yeah.
And
And with that, The Mana Eruption comes.
Also draws a card that doesn't put out stats here. So, yeah.
Oh, Coco got it. And actually, it's super funny with like the draw, because with the Enhanced Prototype, this would be also like the potential draw, right? And then you could be actually able to remove something, so there would be actually a chance of playing that instead. I'm always scared in a play, because I'm thinking until
Rune was actually mentioning during that day that he was surprised that the Etsadi player ended up choosing to go for that plan, the Eat Me Energy Bars plus Sakurabru. And the reason why this is also surprising to me is specifically because of how much you would actually like your opponent to take a potential progression on the what's showing up as the hero side here, or getting off of that mountain only expedition that the opponent is on. Letting them get off of that is actually totally fine, because realistically, if you're looking of making use of multiple Sakurabrus, multiple Eat Me Energy Bars. Oh, cool! Did it?
Yeah. And actually now we have also Chill as well here. Hey, welcome, Cruz.
Just gonna say, you want to ideally set up for a subsequent day, and the problem is if you set them back to the starting position and they don't advance there, any subsequent Sakurabru doesn't actually synergize with the Eat Me Energy Bars anymore. And they can sort of just push you down eventually. You're going to add a couple more counters to the Etsadi, but you're not really doing much. And you've very well blown all of your resources doing that as well. Anything that goes to reserve, you're going to then have to discard. I don't think it's a bad line, and I definitely think there's a lot of incentive to wanting to just keep your opponent away from that potential game-winning state. But at the same time, it's just so hard because there's very little future there. And as we can see from the cards that Kojo had access to, they still had so many resources left. But anyways, that's
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I'm very happy to pass things over to our wonderful commentary team. That's I believe Chili is jumping in along with Runefolk, and then I think Freeloader is here to bring some analysis afterwards.
Now from our sheet, it should be PAANDY and Freeloader.
I think the sheet is a little bit rigged because we're already in the third round. I think the sheet is a little bit rigged, so I hope it's okay for you guys. I'm super sorry, but the round's going to be a little bit faster than the sheet. So are you still fine for that? To do it?
Okay, then I can add to the analysis then.
I will mute, and then Cruz, Rune, have fun.
Yeah, sure. All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah, I think.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that I'm available to be seen. So
everything sounds good. Yeah, and we do have here gap 1 point against Liiike Faye. So two pretty known players by now, I'd say. Gap 1 point. I haven't seen too many tournament plays by Gap 1 point, but definitely very active on Twitch, streaming a bunch of his gameplay. And Liiike Faye, Altered Aces player, got second on Enjoyyy at the start of set 3 and won basically everything in week 1 on the Whispers from the Maze release, and is on that Kojo list here, and has an interesting setup for his cards here. Puts that deck into his companion expedition, so that looks funny. And Gap 1 point has that Tumult Championship champion mat, so that is cool to see. And yeah,
let's see what goes on here. So we're seeing Muna's an interesting deck for me. I don't know how well it's going to perform in Worlds. I love what it can do, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they end up playing. Kojo is very, very strong in this format. So, and I hope this is not Liike's last foray into Altered. That's my hope.
We have heard rumors about if the metagame stays the same, that Liiike does not want to continue Altered for now, but we do hope that they just stay. They're just such an amazing player, and here we do see. This time around, the hero expedition is for us on the right side again, so pretty consistent on that part it seems so far. So the Kojo, the Buddha token is going on our left side here. So the Sneezer Shroom is pretty much contesting that one. I think it's just the common, so it's not outstanding yet. And we do see a first sabotage here coming out from the Tooth Fairy. I feel like there's a decision to be made for these Kojo players. They do like their rare slots to be sabotages. The Tooth Fairy and also the Outer Spy are just much better cards than the Bouncer is. The Bouncer is oftentimes still played, but then the the Kojo players have to kind of make the decision on what do they prefer to be their sabotage choice, and just having that 2-mana sabotage feels so good oftentimes, and that's why we see the Tooth Fairy here over the bouncer. Yeah,
it's interesting. Like, it depends on the game state, because some people prefer the bouncer purely because it has value when played from reserve. Whereas the Tooth Fairy truly doesn't have much value when it's played from reserve. It's just a single 1/1/1 with no additional stats. But if you want to play low to the ground, and then the Tooth Fairy definitely is the approach to take.
Yeah, and here not too much of decision for the Kojo on. They get to trade expeditions here, and they can decide on where they want to advance, but they know that Dracana here is coming out, will get anchored, and get the 1-for-1 guaranteed. So yeah, that's what's happening here, and the Dracana is therefore now staying in that hero expedition. And the good part is the Dracana is weak in forest stat, and actually maybe there was a chance to. Oh no, the Muna player was already in forest, so they would have moved out of forest. So this is forcing the Dracana onto the correct expedition where it's a bit weaker on. And yeah, good plays here from that way. Very consistent. And we do see the priority of these sub-duendes from the Tasia list. I think that's the second one already. That's interesting to see.
Yeah, I thought this card would get played a lot more in competitive play, but I've seen it become less and less part of decks. But it is definitely central to Gab's gameplay, game state here. So I'm looking forward to learning from him on how he uses this and leveraging that in future gameplays that I will make and I'll play against in the future. So we've got to go ahead.
I think the sub-duende in this matchup isn't the greatest, so it will likely just boost one. Well, it might get one boost from the Kojo and puts it on a non-boosted character of your own, but I don't see it get much more boosts. And wait, wasn't that already third day here? What just happened? No,
yeah, I think the cards being played it's just a little bit back on the video there for us.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
the other way I
have any stream on, yeah.
Yeah, the other way I use
Sapduende.
Yeah. The other way I use Sapduende though is you can move the boost between your own characters. So if you know one of your characters is about to leave and you've got an anchored character, you can bring it in there and increase it. So the cost isn't that much, but it's better for end state game than it is right now. But you are more privy to removal when you stack your resources up that way, or your boosts up that way.
And here we do see 2 uniques in the hand for Liiike. We will likely see what they will do soon when they are played, or whenever the cast decides to showcase these. But yeah, it's now the Mighty Jin going into that hero expedition, looking very, very strong, just outstudying that poor Sneezershroom by a ton. And yeah, there we do see the Trailblazer. It is getting boosts per fleeting character you control, and gets to sabotage or exhaust a card based on how many boosted characters you have. So
that's right, you need 2 boosted characters, so I don't think he's going to get that this turn round. That'd be a very strong Basira card.
Yeah, that is true. These Trailblazers oftentimes are just such nice Basira cards in general. I also have one that's super sweet.
You've got a pretty good one. It's interesting as well. The other thing, as I'm seeing on the game state, I was watching the videos beforehand, is the foilness. The foil cards coming through are beautiful. They're looking really, really great on screen, as well as I'm sure in person as well.
Yeah, these foiled ones are so nice. Do I see it correctly that Muna still has some cards on hand, just not showing it to the camera yet? Has that Sapduende still, and was it the Dracana again, or what was
I could only see the one, and it looks like the camera's he doesn't want to share his hand too much, but what we can see in Liike's hand though, he's got a hunger. He's got a hunger in hand, and we'll see whether or not it gets used. And in this last round, we got to see a hunger. I don't know, and I know you guys did some analysis on it. I don't know if it was played the way that I would have played it. I probably would not have played the Tiny Jin first. but I'm not sure. I'm struggling. I was struggling to see
it's
that, but it was a tough
here.
game.
It's magic beans onto the caregiver, but that is not doing a whole lot, I feel like. It's just giving out a boost. You're not really advancing yourself yet, and the Sap Duende isn't doing a whole bunch. I didn't see what... Oh, Liiike just
But it's Sap
tapped.
Duende, at least he gives you the draw.
Yeah, and now got to remove the counter from the Trailblazers, so... Kojo isn't advancing, I guess. That's all that happened here.
Yeah. Oof.
So it's a 1-for-0 day here for the Kojo. So they're back on
back to even. Back on even
on the tumult, yeah.
And that's not bad to be just one down. That was 1-0 on a Kojo turn.
Yeah.
On a Buddha turn, sorry. So let's see where we're at. What's going to happen? So this is the fun part of the round. Like you're starting to get to round 3. You've played a couple of games. You're getting yourself ready to see how you're progressing. I'm assuming both these players are 2-0 so far. And they are on their way. So we know that day 1 is all best of ones. Do we know what the cutoff is for day 2?
Top
is
32.
It 32 or 64? Top 32.
32.
And then tomorrow is best of 3s.
Yeah.
Which is a format that many players probably are not accustomed to, because it's seldom done that we go best of 3s in Altered.
Yeah, and there have been players that don't really like the best of 3 format in general, since it's just making the game is already consistent enough, and then just best of 3 just makes it even more consistent, and it's a question if it's actually necessary for the game, and a lot of players therefore just prefer having the best of 1 over the best of 3s. And yeah.
What's your preference on that then?
I probably by now would also go for the best of 1s, since I'm also just much more used to it. Well, actually, talking for my own decks, probably I like the consistency and should probably advertise our best of 3s, especially me playing Varu. I think that deck needs consistency, but otherwise I can empathize with best of 1s. That this is just a better format for the game, since otherwise it's kind of just whoever has the better uniques is more likely to see them and will therefore just win with their uniques. And yeah, that's
I
not
love
the most fun experience.
I love the best of 1 formats. I think I like there being enough of a variance so that the person that doesn't have the most expensive cards or the craziest cards wins. For this game, because you don't have a deck out, right? You have an equal, and it's a small enough deck size that it makes it worth it. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for Altered in the going forward.
Looking at
the in this matchup, though, sorry.
Yeah, looking at the game again, it's a kind of weak turn here for the Tasia. They don't really get a big anchored character out. They at least get 2 boosts onto their Harvester with that magic beans that they have in hand again. But the Kojo's just already outstanding, kind of, and the exhaust that always come out from the Trailblazer are so good, just preventing these re-anchors.
Yeah, they don't have any boosts to be able to looking at what they've got in hand as well, so they can sleep. Got a magic bean.
They're not a lot of options that are doing too much here, but at least they are likely to get a 1-for-1 with the Beauty Sleep as well.
Magic bean. Go with Beauty Sleep.
Yeah, I think the magic beans are not enough, since the Skater would advance with the 1 forest set that it has more, but yeah.
Oh,
Asia feels so rough, and I haven't seen too many magic beans around before, but they are coming out here in this game, and Duel of Grid is painful here. Yeah,
that is tough. The 2 cards in hand still for the Kojo player, 1 card in hand for our Muna player.
And looking at the chat, Keelan is asking for his beloved Afanas mirror matches. Well, we're luckily not getting to see Afanas yet.
No, we haven't. It's surprising. As we're going through, we've only been able to see the one Sigismund as well. So nice to get a little bit of variety on the cast.
We got a bunch of Bravos, therefore.
Oh, there is a lot. We get now. I don't see, given there's no board state present right now for TCG, I don't see a way forward. It doesn't mean they can't. It just looks very, very tough for them right now, especially against Buddha's turn.
Yeah, 2 expeditions behind into Buddha turn. It's not looking too great here for the TCG, and yeah, TCG's not doing too hot currently in this meta, and I'm not sure why they're struggling that much. It's kind of surprising to me. Well, I do understand why they're struggling into Sigismund and Farmers, but even into the Koji matchup, I would expect that this should be one of the better matchups, but even the Duel of Grid performs so well into this.
Yeah, and let's have a read into the latest, the unique that got played out by Liiike. So if I'm the only character in my expedition resupply, so they resupply the Haven, I think it's the Warrior? Yeah. And when I leave the expedition zone, I draw a card, which is great for the next turn as well. Yeah. Very, very strong.
And then on the from reserve, it also gets to Argument, so that is a really, really, really sweet Sap Sniffer.
Very, very strong.
Yeah. We do see Beauty Sleep coming out here onto the Warrior, but yeah, actually the Sap Sniffer doesn't provide any stats necessary, so currently Koja wouldn't even be advancing on that expedition, so needs to play out one more card here. But
that's actually not too bad of a play.
Yeah.
They've got the last card. Oh, okay.
Mana Eruption.
Wow.
That's an investment.
Wow. Playing Mana Eruption. And you can see they've got one last card to play. At least to be able to move forward and gets an anchored.
And that is a play that the TCG here is happy about, getting to stick that Aloe and no threat of removal here. So that is sticking to the board for one more turn and blocks out. Actually, there is that Warrior sticking around, so the Aloe isn't even that strong in this upcoming turn. It's already getting blocked perfectly, or perfectly getting matched by the Warrior. So yeah, basically starting the day without stats in that expedition for either of these players.
Yeah. But they do get a chance to resupply. I think that's his hope right now, given the 2 cards he's got in hand, that Gab's got in hand for TCG are pretty low value right now. I do need to read the unique though to see if there's any special benefits out of it, but it has low stats. So draw a card, which is great to actually play. That's great. And if your reserve is empty, resupply, but that's only when played from reserve. That's not a bad card actually for very low.
It's interesting to see that TCGs are not playing these mass anchors anymore and are also just starting to play draw card cards. I did not expect that. That is kind of crazy.
Well, it shows card advantage is all that matters in the end. It is of high importance in this game, as we've seen it both by Liiike playing cards that draw cards, and also Gab has here, and we saw that in the last round as well.
Yeah,
it's a tough one. Now I'll say these magic beans. Can they help you against the hunger? Should that hunger be played? We're seeing it still in his hand. It looks like Liiike has got 4 cards in hand.
I don't think that.
No.
That magic beans
only Floral Tint.
Yeah, Floral Tint helps, and resupplies. Yeah, there's the hunger here, and basically forces a Beauty Sleep or some discard from hand, and that is all mana here for Liiike. So if there's an answer, this is.
Well, you can at least play one. But that's it. 666. Jeez. The good thing is what
11 stats that
playing it on that side. Oh my word! I'm not sure if he can. It all depends on what they get. Yeah, good game. That was tough. The hunger played very, very well by Liiike there. If only he had kept the card with the boost. If only he had that as a boost, but it would have gone away as well. That was a tough one.
Yeah, and Gab just laughing at the end there, and yeah, it's a brutal game.
Wow, it is brutal. I don't know if there was anything he could have done. Like that's the hard part. Is Liiike really played that very well. Yeah, looks like we're getting ourselves into round 4. We're finally seeing an Afanis player, and we are seeing a Rin player, which is interesting. Week TCG 92 against F4B.
Who's up next? That's Frieeeend and Kion, right?
Very nice.
So I think
who's our analyst for this round?
That's Chile.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. In that case, thanks, Rune. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm leaving you alone here for a second. Grabbing some breakfast finally, and yeah, get some time off. Yeah. Then,
hi there.
Awesome.
Are we indeed jumping ahead the hour? I think we jumped the gun earlier on our scheduling.
I think that was the one that I was thinking of last round that I said. Well, isn't it PAANDY and Frieeeend now? But and PAANDY was like, no, it's the next round already, and I was like, okay.
Let's do Frieeeend, like Kion, and Chile, because as long as Chile is being here,
probably not. Chile now is good.
Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay, all right.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. Am I staying on, or you want me off?
You're analyst role, I believe.
Okay, I'll stay at analyst. No problem. Thank you.
Sweet.
All
Well,
right.
Freeloader, happy to be joining you once again. It's like our regular Thursday AQZ Championships broadcast, but very different this time. And I am thrilled to be seeing not only an Afanis, which I was excited about before, but a Rin and Orchid player. This is super cool.
Yeah, awesome to see this hero at 3-0. I'm sure there are a couple other spicy lists still out there, but I'm super happy we get to see this into an Afanis. So you must be excited for that one, our first Afanis of the game.
I am indeed, and you know what? The Afanis player has something that I always have when I start playing card game tournaments, which is a little bit of the handshakes. I always feel this until I settle in my first couple rounds, hands physically shaking a little bit. And in those times, I don't really know what you do. You just got to play out your cards, make sure your decisions are right, and your hands will eventually settle in. But it can take a little bit of time. But I have to say, our Rin player looking rock solid so far. They are ready. It looks like a very motivated start as well.
Yeah, and I'm seeing in the hand of the Rin a Bountiful Meadow and a Hydrocana. Can't see the board quite yet with this setup, but it is looking like a pretty interesting Rin build here. A certain kind of ramp Rin list, which is exciting to see. That's not what we know so far of the character, but the character definitely has a lot of cooking potential left. So maybe you don't need the Freeloader YouTube video. Maybe you just need to look at this Rin player here.
Yeah, definitely true. It looks like a sweet list. I mean, I think there's a lot going for ramp strategies in general out of the Muna faction still. I know there's, some lesser popularity of Hydrocana specifically because we do have that license withdrawal phenomenon occasionally, but it's still a very powerful setup. And for those games where your opponent doesn't have a license withdrawal, for example, the Afanis matchup where the license withdrawal, if they are playing it, can't hit such a large character, it's definitely a good thing to put down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is one of those critical dynamics, right? Because I think if you are playing Hydrocana, then a license withdrawal out of Ordis is like one of the things you fear the most. But if you're into Afanis or into a Ysmir character, you're not really worried about that card at all. And in general, there's not a whole lot in the Ysmir faction that hits that Hydrocana efficiently, right? What's the cheapest thing that can remove Hydrocana out of Ysmir?
It's pretty much Banishing Gate. It's that or Uniques in some cases, realistically, but very few Afanis players are playing those. And by the way, do not worry, this is not on your side or PAANDY's side. There is a brief stream crash. We're trying to get that back for you as soon as possible, but that is on the end of that French feed, but I believe it should be coming back up right away here. And yeah, it does seem to be up again, so you'll be seeing it as well momentarily. It looks like Bountiful Meadow was indeed played out, and it's followed up now by an Aloe Vera.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a good line. It looks like day one was just a 1-0 advance for Rin with this unique here. It is a unique that can... It's actually a very flexible unique. If you have 3 or more characters, target character item regains fleeting, anchored, or asleep. So you can use this aggressively to asleep one of your opponent's characters, or you can, play for a little bit of your own setup. Here, this aloe vera doesn't actually get removed, but it wasn't anchored either. It was just a little bit short on mana for that.
So I actually like that. I think the setup that you would typically see for a Muna player involving aloe vera really is that anchored setup. But I think the setup that this Rin player is going for is just the early progressions while they can get them, while still enabling their ramp gameplay strategy that we know they're going for. So being able to play out that bountiful meadow and take a progression, totally fine. I mean, I think one of the most important things for them is if they get to set up Hydrocana before they're actually behind, that's a massive sign of success for them. I'm also hearing in the chat that it does seem like this is a mirror of Parisian players, so I guess these are well-known faces within the Parisian Altered scene, and I guess play against one another regularly, so kind of cool to see here on the feature table.
Yeah, that also actually does probably change some of the matchup dynamics, as they're probably familiar with what they're running into here from one another, and will maybe keep some cards that they might otherwise not keep in these matchups, right? Because if it's Nephanos, you know you're into a Hydrocana, you are definitely going to change some of your manaing decisions that you're going to be making.
And as there is that first Hydrocana comes down. Is there an answer for it right away? I have a strong doubt. Also, that tough on it as well, going to make it a little bit more difficult to interact with. And yeah, as we mentioned before, they're currently ahead on the Tumult even, so that's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, not only are they ahead, there's only 3 mana remaining for Ephanos here. It's going to be really tough to get over this Hydrocana. There's not a lot of combos that do it. It would need to be like Mage Dancer plus a Sap. What's that card called? You probably know.
Sap Duende?
Not Sap Duende.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. From
Sap Infusion. Sap Infusion.
Ah, yeah. In order to go over it, yeah. And this is pretty much one of the only days where they would actually be able to do that realistically. Of course, yeah, it's theoretically possible to go above like the 888 stat Hydrocana, but it does make it significantly more difficult to do so.
Yeah, and then once Hydrocana number 2 comes out, they're both going to have tough 2 constantly, right? And if you don't remove one of these Hydrocanas next turn as a Phanos, then as soon as there's more plants going to be entering these expeditions, these Hydrocanas are going to be practically unstoppable, except there is a hunger in this Ephanos list, which, of course, we do not know. So that's a bit of a surprise for us.
Yeah, that is the most terrifying thing for the Rin player at the moment, and I actually wonder whether that gives them any incentive to not try to play out the second Hydrocana, given that they're already ahead on the Tumult. But oh my goodness, we just saw them draw their 3rd copy of Hydrocana. Suddenly, I don't think they're going to be playing around hunger. They're just going to slam the second one right away.
Oh my god. Yeah, I have a feeling as well, especially because, how many Ephanos lists are actually running hunger, right? I know I've seen it, but I do have my doubts as to if it is that common an inclusion. And even if they have it included, they still need to draw it, right? There are a ton of cards in Ephanos' hand. So maybe that is a bit of an incentive to take your lines differently. But also, looking at this TCG hand, what can they even do other than play another Hydra?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, as you were mentioning, the hunger, it's not always played by Ephanos players. However, there's a good number of players who are indeed slotting in the first copy of it, at least. At least enough that if you're a very experienced player going up into Ephanos's, you have to at least consider that it could be a factor. I think it is particularly strong if your opponent knows your list, or if there is good scouting going on, like as is the case on Board Game Arena. Whenever you play there, you can check out your opponent's previous match deck list, for example, and then if you know there's a Hydrocana, your opponent has to shadow box around it the entire time, while you can just throw it into mana if you see it even. Which can be particularly nice. But in these cases, I think where players are not going to know all of the details for the players' deck lists, at least until much later in the event, it's definitely a pretty good surprise factor, I would say.
Yeah, that is definitely the case. And now we see this Ephanos having a bit of a thinking break. So many tools, but none of them really do anything. Do they have a beauty sleep in hand? I think that, yeah, they do have a beauty sleep in hand, which is going to be 3 mana to put one of these asleep. If they can somehow get over the Hydrocana on the companion side and sleep the Hydrocana in the hero side, then they could catch up on expeditions. I really doubt they can get a character into both expeditions while also doing that. So it's hard to imagine that this goes wrong for Rin, right? Maybe Afanas catches up on expeditions temporarily, but after that, it's you have these 2 monsters of a character just in either expedition. It's going to get harder and harder for Afanas to deal with them properly.
You're totally right. It's not the situation that Afanas can never find a progression ever again. It's just that in what all of the gymnastics that they have to do in order to do so, they would need to do every single day that they want to find a progression. And that's really the threat of these Hydrocanas. When they do come down in the very late game and the Afanas is already, for example, closing in on a victory, it's relatively trivial to just play a 3 mana beauty sleep and say, like, all right, cool, I'm going to cheese my expedition progression, and that's the game. Or I'll small step giant leap you in the old days. But this is Turbo Hydrocana. These were out before really anything happened on the Afanas' side whatsoever. It's really sweet setup. The other thing I wanted to note as well is the uniques that are being played by the Afanas player. They're relatively strong at Dusk card return or spell return. Notably, the Ortis Cadets that we saw earlier had an additional effect that could also spam tokens whenever you play a spell, but only if you control a landmark. And that immediately made me think, I wonder whether they're playing either the Nylum Withered Tree or Nylum Spires in their list.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Those are both... We do see lists that occasionally play either of those landmarks. The Mana Moth makers, the token makers, they are quite strong. I think in this situation, the Nylum Spire specifically, that just requires you to play 4 spells in order to get a Mana Moth, might be the higher potential one, as it is a way for you to get a body on board and let you focus your resources on dealing with the issues in play. That does also mean, though, if we are expecting there to be landmarks in this Afanas list, there very well might not be a hunger at all, since you probably don't want to couple your hunger with landmarks that you're then going to eat yourself, right? So that is a bit worrying in that sense. Either way, I don't think we've seen either or so far for the Afanas. No landmarks or hunger in sight.
Yeah, there was a Katagirian Mage Dancer in hand at least, so it could be that some stats could spike up here and there. But yeah, overall, it's so interesting. Afanas is a very reactive deck, but the things that it can react well against are like, things that are, for example, in reserve when you're playing out a Rime Frost to start off the day. Things that are small characters in play that you can remove, or remove a different character and then go over slightly with a Katagirian Mage Dancer. But realistically, these Hydrocanas are already at a size where Mage Dancer is going to struggle to go over them, even if you commit virtually all of your other resources on doing virtually nothing. It's not like that Snoozer Shroom in the reserve for the Rin is a particularly massive threat that the Afanas really wants to get rid of desperately. It's more just that they don't have any other use for their cards, it seems.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And it's just so awkward when... Because this is a phenomenon that in Altered, I think, is quite strong, where you have such a small deck, and each card you add to it has such a huge impact in how the deck plays that you want to very narrowly construct your deck for the threats you are expecting in the metagame. And it can easily happen, and it's happened for me a bunch in my deck construction as well, that when you build a deck and you take a look at the list and you realize, I cannot deal with a certain card. Very often that card is actually a Hydrocana, just because it is so expensive and so large. And then you're just like, well, I hope I don't run into that. Or if I do, that I'm ahead on expeditions. And it's just not the case here. It's quite incredible to see.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm already just going back to those first couple days of the game. It is so rare that you just see a start off the game progression from Rin while playing virtually no large threat or anything. That just goes completely uncontested. Like 3 mana just does not get spent by the Afanas, and then they pass. And then the next day, a Bountiful Meadow gets played, an Aloe Vera unanchored, and it's yet another progression for them. Like, I'm just wondering, I guess I want to go back and look, but how bad did the opener for Afanas have to be for nothing to happen like that? Oh, all right, there is the third Hydrocana getting played. Our Afanas player is just nodding at this point,
Stoic reaction.
Yeah, definitely stoic. I do wonder, you know, maybe they do if they are familiar with one another. Maybe Wig here knows that Fab does not play Hunger in their list, for example. But I almost wonder if they're overplaying it a little bit. The third Hydrocana, whew.
Yeah, that's the, I mean, if there is no Hunger, this does end the game. Because now all these Hydrocanas have tough free. You're always going to get one advancement at least, and you're up on expeditions. So there's really not a lot that can be done here, as far as I can see. I mean, I might be wrong, but
there's some Afanas lists that are still sneaking in a copy of Blizzard here and there, and I think that also likely has to be a relevant concern.
Blizzard is a good call out as well, as that's another way to get around that tough cost, and you could remove the 2 smaller Hydrocanas that way. But yeah. No, there it is. There it is.
Just like that, it's the concession. I guess there's no Hunger.
Oh, we're going to be? Yes? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, Pompode?
We have another Asadi and our first trace today, right?
The first trace
also
today.
The first time we see Axiom today.
Yes.
So, and we do already see 2 uniques in hand here.
Yeah, that's like super crazy. So we see 2 Afanas, sadly none of us speaking French, so I couldn't translate even if we... Oh, here's it! Put a card and then 1 boost and then you can do it like twice. Alright. That is crazy.
But focus from hand it's quite expensive.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that this is going to be played out from hand, right? It's maybe more of like just like resupply it and then boom. And so Pompode, being also a well-known player for Axiom, especially on the online tournaments, right? So it's like super cool. He played like with a second account, not with the main account. So I shouldn't need to find the name. I'm recognizing the name because I know I've talked with him once, and and so it's like the biggest thing. And the biggest threat of all those BGA bans is actually that people telling me right now, hey, I've played with my second account, so I need to get the invite again. And I'm like, okay, good to know. And good to know will also be who is going to be the winner for this game. I mean, the quite cool thing for Trace right now, if it's going to be against Azzati, I feel like, is like that you quite have like a cool chance of just like activating your abilities, right? Or just like the Trace ability in itself. And not getting interrupted that hard, maybe, but we can already see the duel of Crit by Solyard being in hand.
Reserve it.
Yeah.
It's reserve is just in the mana zone. Oh, I see.
Okay.
That's
this is like game strats, you know? This is like psychological game strats, you know? Yeah, you know?
And
I mean...
Okay. See the first counter going onto the Trace. And Azzadi gets Tinyton into play, so gets to ramp next turn most likely. And almost the Trace got a double advance here, but then the overlay decided, well, no, you're not getting the double advance, just 1. A bit boring. just magic slay the step sniff on day 1. I don't see a problem in that. And now we do also see a Chiron here, a Serengar in the hand here for...
the Sacro.
Is it a Demeter here?
Yeah, it's in Demeter right now, being played here.
And the Sakuraru goes into mana. Interesting.
Yes. So
does not want to play for the combo.
Getting the con of starting player. There's an additional counter, so let's see. We get the Snap Sniffer. Fook Aces. Hey, that's like another team. Now I mentioned it even more why I know the name.
Yeah.
It's like I've asked once, is this like the anti-team against Altered Aces? I don't know what Frug actually means. So
I think the player that I know from FUG is probably Ethan, right?
Oh yeah,
the Foundry Kojo player.
Yeah. And Mana in the debate zone, judge. Mana in the debate zone. So no, okay. So as we can see right now, Dr. Frankenstein. That's good.
Yeah, we see a first Haven here. Quite nice. And yeah, Trace already feels online with having 2 cards here in reserve, having that Frankenstein. So they don't need to play any more cards from hand and will get those 5 counters onto their hero ability. And yeah. Now Atsadi just wants to draw cards, ramp, and find the big threats as soon as possible. And yeah.
And as you can see, abilities getting activated, and so the Haven again during resupply and receive the Gremlins. Okay, that is super awesome. And now it's going, it's just like going to be a pass by, 1 expedition for everyone, so both of them just like staying on the same. We can see
the Grumps in this matchup probably not doing too much.
Yeah.
There are some Atsadis that are running the Scholars Wall.
Unique.
We've seen that before by... Who have we seen? Bajillion playing these Scholars Wall.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure if this one is playing them as well. We do see Damidas and they don't really synergize with Scholars Walls, so I don't think they're on the list. But maybe for the Trace we do see some Armored Gemmers, some more permanents, so they can get sacrifices on that to still get a benefit of the Grams.
Yeah.
But maybe they're just also a 2-mana 1/2 or 2/3/3
totally
with
agreeing
the
on
Haven
that.
boost.
Also can see, okay, the second one.
just see a commitment of the Demeter here.
Yeah. This is a commitment, but I feel like it's like okay to play it out twice if you have it, because if you don't have like any other landmarks right now, just like they're going to be activated, right? Then it's always nice to have to still have them. And
unfortunately, Trace resupplies into the elemental and can just put 2 boosts onto the elemental, so it blocks the Demeter. Demeter isn't walking into forest then and can still play out any character. Can still play out the Sap Sniffer to even double advance here.
Yeah.
And that is huge punish here.
It's huge, and also activate ability. So activate the ability of Trace. This is super cool. And the Dementor.
Yeah,
Pro Soliard. Look at him. He's sad. Say goodbye to the Dementor. Yeah. This is.
It's such a power play here from the Trace. Just gets I feel like the perfect card into reserve, and just gets to outs the Demeter here.
Yes.
Crazy play.
So we go back to the end cards. I mean, what is like quite interesting is that actually Zoriat plays with 1 unique less, because the other one, I think it was a Kaibara, got actually mannered in the turn before, for make like the decision. So we right now have the Mighty Jin, and as well as, is it like the Wellerman? What was the rare card in front of?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think Trace also has put one of his uniques into mana, so it's kind of even on uniques then.
Yeah, that's true. So we see the Foundry mechanic will be going to be played out as a sheep pass by, and we can see as well that right now Zoriat will decide to. That's a good question, Zoriat. Many options.
This game almost already feels over with that hooked in hand here from Pump.
This hooked is like changing.
And there kind of needs to be gigantic characters to play against that hooked. But hooked plays is so well when it had to just trade expeditions, and oftentimes, especially into big characters, you can just hook them over once, and you get a clean trade, and you can do this twice. So potentially two stalls here, or two trades from one card.
Okay,
and that would be pretty sweet. And there we do see that aaaand now being put into reserve. So showing that to his opponent, and we don't quite know the effect yet, right?
It's it's like the 2 cost, so he can actually boost it up twice and put a card down to the reserve, and so this is just like a super booster,
I haven't seen Anansi's like that before. That just
agreeing on that.
That Anansi effect twice. That's interesting.
But it's like a super cool power
play. Is that a rare gram? Is that a rare and a common Grim?
That's a rare and a common Grim, for sure, yes.
Interesting.
But I feel like this Nancy is super cool, because you have like, it's like a super special rare, and you're also getting like super aggressive if it's going like to being activated, and the chance of just like playing it out from the reserve is like super high, right? And also with the Gremlins right now, Prompode could consider actually to play them out as well as just like maybe sacrificing in Haven, if the chances are like high to just like getting like an additional landmark, if he even wants to play that, and just like to double progress, because it seems more and more actually that yeah, basically Prompode could you go there with a double. Oh, could be actually, and just like playing out the hook.
Can just hook here.
Yeah,
can just
like
hook. And that's not outstudying the Anansi here yet.
Yes.
So it's still
that is super awesome.
Take a double advance here. Yeah.
That is super crazy.
The Sarenga isn't advancing at all here on that. Is it?
And oh, the duel of crit. Totally forgot about that. No, I didn't forget, guys. Yeah. But it's like super crazy. So goodbye to the Anansi, and with that right now, there's like not any chances. I mean, you could potentially play out the Cramps just like to defend the expedition right now for that, but as we can see, actually the foundry mechanic we're going to be just like placed there for defending, and so the reserve is just like kept from Prompode. That's like so. Oh no, okay, there was like 1 mana left. I didn't saw that, but actually it's like mana reserve. It's all on the same spot, so super hard to guess for me still. But hey, with that, being able to progress. That's cool.
Still gets the 1-for-1. That's all they need here, and
it's totally fine with that, right? Against the Natsadi. I mean,
they aren't really so Prompode here doesn't know that, but they are likely not really that threatened by a Sakuraru combo, since one of the Sakurarus was already put into mana. But of course, the Natsadi here gets more and more ramp. So racking up that mana count can still be quite scary, but as a trace, you should still feel very comfortable in this spot, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. And so as we can see right now, okay, so there's the Hunger, and could be no, there's like 1 mana left, right? There's like 1 mana left for the Hunger, right? Before he could play it. Oh, it's like 2, 4, 6. No, okay, good, that's enough. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, it's 10. It's 10 mana. It's 10 mana. I'm sorry. Something we can figure it out for Essen as well. Just like to place down how many mana going to the place. Yeah. But I mean, the players needs to see it from the opponent, so we also can see it as well with that. So super cool. As you can see right now, with that, the Hunger could potentially being played out super well. And did the judge say something? It seems like that.
Maybe, yeah. Now puts his reserve into the actual reserve slots.
Judge, where opponent showed his mana. Judge. I mean, okay, the Hunger directly got to be played, but still, it's just like the fact right now that Prompode can play basically actually anything down to like the companion side, and Rift is just like being able to progress.
And it's only an 888.
Yeah.
I've seen much bigger Hungers before, but I feel like this seems like a pretty easy trade here for the Traced.
Yeah.
And puts his cards in the mana zone again instead of the reserve.
Someone is getting suspended. Charge.
And plays it actually into the Hunger Expedition. That is interesting. Do they have?
Oh.
What kind of removals do they have?
That's a good question. I only see the Gibble, another one, and what is like the card? It's a Snap Sniffer. I don't think there are like any removals. But maybe
just
there was
waiting out to
maybe
Zadi to play into the wrong
expedition. Maybe it could be.
Or are they planning for Gibble plays here? The Gibble is 7/7 stats on its own.
Yeah.
So they would be advancing and can play one more 1-cost maybe?
That's true. But the 1-cost would be super hard because it's
good. Sniffer is wrong stats here.
Yes, so we can see the Kinnan Cylinder at least is going to be onto the play. And
they just played it and tapped it at the same time. That's also Judge.
Judge? Judge? Oh, man.
Still playing the Gibble here from hand and realizing, well, I can't
So I just like want to say on the hand, Pompot would be able to win. He showed off his mana all game. During reactions of cards that he couldn't be do, guys. No, just kidding. Actually the Azadi player Zoyard was already passing, so maybe he did just like because of that, because he was passing. Yeah, there. He make like the move of like, hey, I will not play anything anymore. So just like go on. I mean, there's like now only one expedition left for Pompot actually to just like close out the game. And with that, I feel like yeah. Do we see it? Zoyard, put your hands a little bit higher, please. Put your hands a little bit higher. Is there Sakuraru? He wants to make it like, you know, like special. So that we cannot guess. I feel like so. Okay. Oh, eat me energy bars, but no, not any. Yeah, the trace is looking super good. I mean, the trace also have just like a pass by with the frozen delivery. That's also cool. Yeah. And good after you. Okay. Goodbye.
Let's do sabotage here. So most likely no Sakuraru combo here, unfortunately. And yet that, Emilia Earhart resupply here of this frozen delivery, also pretty solid.
Tiny Jin comes
come out again from the reserve.
Yes.
From reserve, but it's not blocking too well on that water expedition, so. Yeah.
See another draw. Oh, Pompot can go good so well into his deck. This is like super crazy. And there's another hooked. Okay, that's cooked. That's cooked, Zoyard. Let's see. Maybe there will be a chance spot with that. And okay.
Oh, that's an interesting card. But we don't get to see this card too often.
Yeah.
But it's just a 5/5/5, right?
Yeah, it's a 5/5/5, yes. 5/5 gigantic.
At least the hooked isn't doing too much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the potential chance that you could do right now with 2 mana left, and so you don't have anything as 3 now in the end for 2 mana, is just like place down the like anything else. Yeah, just place down the tiny chin, just like on the hero expeditioner. And oh no, there's something else left. What is it? And oh my, that's like super much stats, super many stats. And Gibble going to be placed down. Yeah, and the Gibble is doing it. So congrats to Pompot. Super awesome game. But I feel like it was like a super perfect matchup. Yeah, he wrote it in the arena chat, not like on private Discord or something. The stream also started the cast, so I can tell you the infos afterwards, guys. Special infos. But Argon, I can tell. Maybe he's also explaining it at some point. So now Freeloader? Freeloader? Oh, you wanna? Okay, Freeloader is sleeping.
Yeah.
So Rune, or Killen, do you want to take over the cast until Freeloader is coming?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
And Rune, you can go to the analyze and you can relax, or what do you want to do, guys?
Yeah,
you both can also cast. You're the only one that not cast together today, so maybe you also can cast. That's also
fair
okay.
enough.
Yeah, okay, nice.
We can ping Freeloader maybe. Maybe he gets there.
But as long as you can take over. You can take over. Have fun.
Yeah, sure. So we do have the first Lyra hero of today, and it is
Nevenka. That's going to be really fun. Immediately with that rare Martingale. Even if you couldn't see the hero, the moment you see rare Martingale, you know what hero it is. There's no choice but it to be that Nevenka. Rare Martingale being so important to that strategy of enabling those die rolls with no downside. So that's really good to start with. And it's really important, especially going up into a Sigismar. It's totally integral that you have that ability to go over that 1/1/1 Ordis recruit, even while you're playing a faction that has so many 0 statistic lines. But looks like a pretty sweet unique is out there for the Sigismar, as well as an Ordis Trooper. So I believe this day is going to be a 1/1 trade, all things considered.
But playing 2 cards on the first day usually doesn't feel the greatest to get a single advance for that, since you're already going a bit low on resources. But
the reason why I don't think that's the case, I'm pretty sure that Baba Yaga draws a card, so I think the Sigismar is totally happy with it.
For the Sigismar, it feels even better than for the Nevenka. But the Nevenka at least can try to anchor things for the next ones. And we do see a Loki already here in hand. That's probably not... Orders might not be the best matchup for Loki, but they do have a ton of draw options nowadays, so...
That's a really cool card. Notably, that will be really hard for Ordis removal to deal with, outside of potentially being able to sleep the card with the Sandman. So, I mean, Teamwork Training is going to be hard-pressed to get that many characters into play. Tiny Jail can't hit it, and even License Withdrawal, that Loki's not going to be boosted. So, I do think that one could potentially sneak through a little bit later. I'm liking immediately this choice as well, anchoring Aloe Vera while you have the opportunity to do so, and saying, yeah, have the answer for this right now, or I dare you.
Yeah, and now I'm surprised a bit to see Aloe Vera here in the Nevenka build, and they now can also roll their die to get an additional boost, and this kind of plays a bit better than the Tasia version of Aloe, where you immediately get the boost, and Sigismar therefore could immediately license withdraw this, but this one... yeah, wait. Frieeeends did answer. Maybe he'll join soon. But yeah, as long as he doesn't, I'll stay here, and now gets a 1-for-1 here. Yeah, 1-for-1 here, right? Since there's nothing to... One more mana still left here for the Sigismar, right?
Yeah, 1 mana still left, I believe, exactly. But
uses the
okay,
support.
Yeah, there it is. All right, cool. So they are indeed cashing in on that unique, because it does have a useful ability. That next Bureaucrat, costing 1 less. That's an Ordis Accountant, correct?
Yes.
Nice. So that one does stand to be able to gain some boosts from the reserve still, but a little bit uncomfortable in order to manage that 2-0, having to cash in on some relevant resources. Of course, Nevenka, not super happy to be getting 2-0 advanced against, but at least for them, they do have a character sticking around in play. Might want to eat some removal on it, but otherwise, yeah, definitely some threat potential there from the Aloe.
The Accountant here also can threaten to just take expeditions again, since it has that sleep ability from reserve, so quite nice on that one. But it has the upcost on being 3 mana, right? I'm not too sure right now what's the card cost from reserve, but it definitely gets boosts when the character joins. It gets that from the token as well, so immediately has the sleep potential. And now mana decision here for the Sigismar. Don't know if they want to keep that license withdrawal or not.
Yeah, I mean, if they do fire it off, it would have the upside of just discarding the Aloe entirely. So there would be no scenario where that gets to get replayed immediately from reserve. So that would be the upside of that play, but it is a pretty hefty mana investment if they did want to do that. And there's lots of gas currently, even just sitting in reserve for the Nevenka player already. Thanks to Hathor as well, there is potential to pick up a card from the reserve if needed, but okay, the Loki's already coming out. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, interesting. I did not expect that, but he used the support ability from the Martingale here, it seems. And therefore, or was that just the Loki ability to discard? No, it was played on 5 mana, so...
Martingale it was, indeed, yep.
So both players just draw 3, and we do see Rallying Call, Attorney, and what's the last card? Another Accountant here for...
Yes. Which, all things considered, is pretty reasonable.
They do have to play all 3 cards to... Oh, no, actually... They would have to play all 3 cards to block the Aloe here, though.
Yeah. It is one of these dynamics where reasonably potentially just playing out the Accountant and conceding a day wouldn't be the end of the world. Or I'm sorry, the Attorney, I mean, not the Accountant. Just the ability to potentially draw some extra cards and get them a little bit ahead in terms of card advantage, but
rolls the 1 here.
Oh,
that
no.
That is brutal. If they rolled a boost here, the Sigismar had to play all of their cards here from hand to get the advance here, and that would have been so sweet for them.
I still wonder, I wonder about whether that die roll's worth it anyway, because the thing I just can't help but feel is that you're already ahead on that board state, right? And if the Sigismar has to play out truly everything to try to go over it, yeah, well, whatever. They've played out all of their resources, and you've just cost them virtually everything. Meanwhile, you still have your 3 cards in hand, and then whatever cards are entering your reserve at the end of the day. So you have such card advantage at that point. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice. You do have that upside of potentially hitting that 6 die roll, getting anchored. You do have the upside of potentially guaranteeing an additional progression. But whew, risky play, and sometimes that is the punishment of Nevenka.
And this Loki here also has a quite nice support ability to just return a card from reserve to hand, and it doesn't have the error ability on the discard, so
yeah. Definitely a really interesting, unique package. I'm assuming there's multiple Lokis in this list. Could be wrong. Could be other typical die roll uniques and something else out of Nevenka. But yeah, I mean, I do like that card overall. It does some really impressive things, especially against decks that tend to like to set up card advantage in hand as one of their main ways of dealing with the game, as well as decks that just build really massive reserves. So, that's definitely a punishment for decks like Afanis or Fen even.
Yeah, and we do now see here in hand the teamwork training, and the hand size for the Nevenka here is quite nice. Has that Martingale plus Aloy here again, and plays the Martingale out. One of the best plays probably. Just makes your hero ability more consistent and is a nice cheap after you, and can most importantly contest that 1/1/1 token. That is super important, and
Jack Frost now exhausting that down. Jack Frost has definitely found its way into virtually all Sigismar lists at this point. I do think it's one of the most powerful 2-mana plays that they do have access to. Sometimes it's just as good as Sabotage, quite honestly, and for just that 2 mana with good stats to boot, it's like a better Tooth Fairy in a lot of cases for that Sigismar deck, especially when that rest of that hero ability is so aggressive leaning. Really strong card. Love it.
Yeah, and especially the Jack Frost being on play is also such a nice upcost over to the Sabotages, and it's a super sweet card.
How many cards is left in the Sigismar's hand? Is that just 2 still?
Seems to be just 2, yeah. But
Teamwork Training and Rallying Call. Okay.
We sadly don't really see how much mana that the players have, since they are weirdly stacking their mana. So it's a bit hard to tell that.
We do see, at least with the Nevenka's mana, that they're at 6, which definitely makes sense. I assume it's the same here for Sigismar. Esmeralda now getting played out onto that companion side, resupplying one of those powerful Martingales at rare, yet again. Powerful, less in terms of stats, more in terms of the fact that it does have that potential boost to the die roll effect, and also that potential discard from reserve ability, that support ability that lets you discount your next play. So realistically, if there's like, say, another Aloe Vera in their hand, they could potentially anchor another one this day.
Yeah, and the really nice part is they can also, they can use that support to anchor that Aloe here. That is probably the nicest thing about that resupply that they got here.
The problem is the Aloe that's currently in the reserve is exhausted from the Jack Frost, so unless there's one in the hand... Oh, we do see it in hand. Yeah, exactly.
We do see it in hand, yeah.
That is really nice, actually. Even then, though, it's likely that they're still going to be conceding at least one expedition to allow this.
Yeah, and here actually... If that Aloe comes down, the Sigismar's just on 3 stats, and the Aloe perfectly perfectly blocks out hero side. So as soon as the Rallying Call is played, I think that's the last mana for the Sigismar, and then Nevenka can answer with the boosts. So I think this is at worst just becoming a no one moves turn here for the Nevenka. And I think just developing an anchored character and just saying, well, it's a stall turn and I get the benefit for the next turn, I think it's just solid for them.
I'm just struggling to see if Sigismar still has a mana here, because I don't think that if they play the Aloe onto the hero side, I don't think they can block it, because another rallying call coming down will be 5 stats, right?
Another rallying? I think the Aloe right now is even stats, and if the rallying call comes down, Nevenka can use their hero ability. And yet now picks up the Aloe from reserve with the Loki support ability and just replays it, so not even showing that they have another Aloe in hand. And yeah, their reserve is now fully empty, but they just refill it again. And interestingly enough, not even blocking on that hero side, yeah, and just play it into the companion side and say, well, draw with your attorney. It's fine for me. I'll just set up for next turn. And I think
realistically, that attorney would have been drawing or progressing on that side anyway, whatever was better for the Sigismar. So that's, I think, totally fine, all things considered. Aloe Vera here, definitely going to be a nice little boon in the Nevenka's pocket, especially because the reserve should not be overloaded. At least they're not going to lose too much value out of this. I like picking it up and not giving the information of the other one that's in the hand. And it's also a situation where potentially that card in the hand could also go into mana if they end up deciding that it's no longer worth it for them to try to play out and anchor Aloe Veras.
And gets to anchor the Esmeralda here as well.
That's interesting. It does actually make it a lot harder for the Sigismar to try to contest on that side on future days. But I think the biggest worry at this point is more so the that hero side.
Yeah, that for sure. But at least they do have the first play here, so can slow play that Martingale from reserve and then see how they want to answer this. Did I just see Eat Me Energy Bar in the hand here? Yeah, that doesn't seem like the best play, since that companion side is a bit stacked, so no value there. And I think the characters going into hero side are also too weak to get benefit from that energy bar, so it's quite a weird card in this position.
Yeah, it's actually slightly awkward that Esmeralda did get anchored, because now with that 2 characters on the companion side, the energy bars wouldn't be able to say, give the Aloe Vera Gigantic. So that's, but possibly a little bit awkward. I mean, you can't know the result of what your draw will be when you're getting the die roll and everything. Yeah. But yeah, happens. But yeah, we will see whether Sigismar is going to find a way to try to break through on the hero side or on multiple sides this day. They're running really low on cards in hand, but still a couple really relevant ones they are able to play out from reserve. I'm seeing Aegis Templar finding its way into the hand now, and that's something that they can use to slow play themselves really, really well.
Aegis Templar plus Trooper are 2 very sweet slow plays, and the Nevenka forgot to their at noon resupply and just does that now, and yeah.
I like that. The opponent allowing the rollback there with no issue. They hadn't made a decision yet or anything anyway, so that's cool and sportsmanlike of them. Really appreciate that. But yeah, the basis does get exhausted anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite tough here I have to imagine quite tough here this day for the Nevenka to contest this hero expedition, since they are quite lacking on that forest expedition.
They do get a good die roll, though, on the Cerberus Trickster. So, I mean, it's definitely already doing pretty well in terms of stats. It's unlikely to be outstatting this potential Ordis Accountant from reserve, though, or maybe even Aegis Templar from hand. But with that Nevenka hero ability as well, it's entirely possible they can still contest on the hero side, even.
Yeah, and knowing there is the teamwork training plus any character here available to the Sigismar, even if an Aloe comes down, I feel like this will just get teamwork training, and then all of a sudden the Nevenka is super low on resources, since all of these cards, 4 cards will go into reserve and just fully overload that. So yeah.
Ooh, Ordis Trooper now coming down as well, saying, yeah, I can contest the companion side as well, no problem. And wow, just such amazing stats coming out now, both sides, for just the investment of 3 mana. There's already that trick that we know about in reserve currently for the Sigismar, that Ordis Accountant threatening to sleep something down at this point while adding stats, but otherwise, again, it's still that unknown Aegis Templar Scout plus teamwork training that can shoot down anything at 4 cost or less at this point. Whew, it's a difficult puzzle for Nevenka, and I don't think they have any way that there's no way they can figure out exactly what puzzle they're supposed to be playing around either.
Yeah, and we do now see where this alloy goes, and it is now 6 stats in mountain, and I'm not sure how much mana this Sigismund has left.
I believe it's 3.
Okay, with 3 they can just play out that accountant if they need to or want to. And they could actually just play accountant into hero side and sleep their own trooper.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that is a pretty interesting line. That could do. But it's either that or potentially just try to get rid of the aloe vera entirely and exactly do this as well. Scout plus teamwork training as well being the other main option here.
But with that I feel like it's
so hard to tell exactly how much mana they're working with, but yeah, that definitely complicates things a little bit. It's possible they had 4 mana and not 3 remaining, in which case they get further additional lines where they can just wait before even playing this accountant out.
Yeah.
The die roll looks like it's coming down now onto the aloe vera, the one that is anchored, which we know is likely to get removed here. Does give an additional boost to it though. Oh, never mind. It's okay. It was going on to the other aloe.
Yeah, just make it less attractive to remove that alloy, since that line definitely is playing around teamwork training or something like that. Mm-hmm. And also plays around license withdrawal quite nice.
There is now that option of just taking a progression on the hero side, which I honestly think would be a pretty reasonable outcome for the day, as long as they feel like they'll have enough resources to work with for the next day. I would really like to find some way of not having to deal with this aloe vera, though, for the next day, though, as well. That would really make me feel, as a Sigismund player, like I'm guaranteed to win at that point.
Yeah, but I don't see a way where you can remove the aloe and advance at the same time. I think, therefore, the accountant was played on the wrong the Templar token was created on the wrong expedition, but yeah, hard to tell.
It's hard to tell, and it's also, there's a lot of different things that you're still potentially thinking about as well when you're placing a token like that, because you're still trying to keep your options open of where you want your own stats to lie at the end of things, and not knowing where Nevenka is going to die roll either. I mean, that's, I guess, one of the strengths of Nevenka. It makes decision making for your opponent very, very difficult when they don't know where exactly the final day's stats are going to truly be.
Yeah, exactly. And Sigismund still thinking here about what's the best play here in this situation, and I think AQZ Templar I like the most. It's just AQZ Templar into hero side is setting up the best. I feel like you get 2/2 worth of tokens at start of next turn, and can just try to go 1-for-1 again and win that way.
Yeah, I think I like that line as well. You know, it's not comfy leaving just aloe vera down, but you know what? At the same time, I think your ability as Sigismund to churn out stats and still be holding on to a removal spell in your hand, I feel like that has to likely do the trick, right?
Yeah. They also keep the accountant in reserve, so much to work with for them. But
notably, by the way,
I'm not sure how much mana they have.
Only one of these players is currently 5-0. One of the players does have a draw at the moment. Not sure how that will factor into any of the math, but the Nevenka player is currently working with a draw. I'm sure they would not like to get any more of them, so I have a feeling they're going to want to, if they're going to try to win, they're going to need to speed up a little bit there. But Gekiju currently sitting at 5-0 on the Sigismund. I'm liking how methodically they're playing this, at least, making sure they give themselves enough time, like, while they're ahead, to make these critical decisions at this point.
Yeah.
But what will they do? It does look like they're handling the Templar, so... Yes, yeah. It is that line that you talk about, playing out the AQZ Templar onto that hero side, And yeah, it will be a progression, single advance then for the Sigismar player. They only need one more on either side in order to take this win against the Nevenka. And notably, Sigismar working with 2 tokens on that hero side, not just one, going into what could be our final day here. We'll see if the Aloe Vera plus other additional cards can do anything for a comeback.
Another Loki entering the Nevenka's hand here. And
yeah, that's a funny one.
Are they on enough mana to play Loki plus the energy bar?
I think so. I think this day they should have exactly 8. I could be wrong. Oh, but there's also the Martingale in their reserve, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that is a possible line.
Yeah. But still paying 6 to give your opponent 3 cards basically to try to outstat your Aloe side. Yeah, also very scary.
Well, you know what I like about that? It does discard the reserve of the Sigismars. So that would result in a world where that Ortus Accountant both cannot sleep your Loki and then take a win, because it would be gone, and it would get rid of the potential removal in the Sigismar's hand. So that could be a good one.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I do like this Loki. You can play Loki and then play the... Oh, but they have to put a card...
you have to play the bars first.
And they have to put a card from their hand in reserve, I think, to get the effect of the Loki. So they have to discard their own energy bar here. Okay, go for that line.
That is a little awkward, even. That is one of these things as well, where, just sometimes if you find uniques on the market that have just that little bit less restriction, it can totally make a difference in the game like this. But you're exactly right. It is just those 2 cards left in the hand of the Nevenkas, so they're likely going to have to discard away that energy bars in order to potentially do this.
Yeah. And they likely have to redraw into the energy bar again, since I don't see a way how they otherwise can deal with 2 mana and that accountant that came out here already, since it just immediately slapped the Aloe here.
All right, well, let's think about it, right? The accountant comes out, there's the trooper that we know about, there's teamwork training. Is it possible that just Loki on its own provides enough stats to survive on both sides here?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. Probably the Sigismars now.
I think it comes down to what that last card in the Sigismar's hand is.
It's Attorney and...
It's enough, okay. I think they have one stat enough, to do
Loki...
Oh, but you can die roll as Nevenka.
Nevenka boost, yeah.
Yes, okay.
So they are alive and will double advance, therefore, right?
Nevenka's theoretically alive as long as they can die roll correctly, and by correctly I mean get the 2/3 chance. I at least it's how I'm seeing the board at the moment.
Yeah, it's I'm seeing the same. Yeah.
All right, this is actually pretty exciting. Wow.
Yeah, and if they stay alive, they do have that Aloe again.
Yeah, exactly. And suddenly, if that does somehow turn into the double advance, yeah, both players would then be adjacent too. That has to favor the Nevenka then at that point.
Yeah, the Nevenka doesn't know that the last card here in hand for the Sigismar is completely useless. Yep. But actually oh no!
No! Oh my goodness!
No!
Two critical 1 die rolls. Oh, you live by the die roll, you die by it. It's so brutal.
That was painful to see.
Oh, I wanted to believe so hard there. That was really interesting. Well fought. I think they had all of our hearts in their hands there, but unfortunately, not quite enough. That was crazy.
That is cringe.
And Rocco the Karteko, the AAand Rocco?
Guys, it's starting! LRS on the... yes. So who's doing it now? I said it, but I forgot it. Frieeeends and PAANDY.
And I'll be in chat. I'll be watching, and you guys have fun.
Okay.
Very nice.
Here later. Bye.
Bye. Sleep well, also.
Farewell. It looks like we... Oh, look, it's Erleia. That's sick.
What is happened with the Loki? What happened with the Loki? Look at this. Maybe there's like maybe it's got damaged, because if your card is damaged, then you are allowed to use it instead of that.
Proxy.
Yeah,
that could be.
Maybe the POD order didn't arrive in time.
Could you imagine? Yeah, this is so exciting. You know, we're used to seeing Erlea crush it in online events, and so I'm really excited to be able to cast a game where they're playing live. And it's a super sweet build that we've seen them have a lot of success on before as well with that Ramptasia. But otherwise, I will leave you guys to it. Have fun. I'll be enjoying myself over here.
Okay, thank you.
See you later.
So, Freeloader, huh? Seeing a Fen right now, finally.
Yeah, we get a Tasia versus Fen matchup. And it's a good start for Fen. That's a magical training. I think we all know what's about to happen.
I think the Heifer will be played out. No, wait, hold on. It's going to be the unique. Please clearly chart what is going to be.
Or is it going to be one of the strongest openers in the game?
Oh no,
it's gonna actually
and your may return a spell? Hold on, that's super crazy. That is super crazy. I mean, I also have like a super cool start with the Tiny Chin. And so as we can see, no signal, the strongest card out by far. And so Tony Chin.
Tony insane unique. Holy.
Yes. I mean, also the coolest unique by far is the unique from earlier, so couldn't compare to that. Oh, maybe we can see it. Oh, here it is again. And there's another Tiny Chin. Tony Chin. We have a new name. There's another Tony Chin.
Yeah, this Ramptasia build is really cool.
Going to be action. And I feel like, actually, this Loki can be already played out in the next round, right? If the other Tiny Chin will come and join in. Because then you have 5, 6, and then 7 mana, Oh, no.
The question is just if there's a play to go alongside that Tony Jin, and I think there is, right? Because the first one, there's already 5 mana there.
Yeah.
You're going to get that Daughter of Yggdrasil out as well. The draw doesn't even matter that much because you're just going to slam that Loki after. So we're really making
we have the deck list.
Synergistic game plan here.
Look at this. We got the whole deck list leaked. But it's like a super interesting choice for that to see. Oh, that's crazy. Here we go. If you control trauma boosted characters, each player discard their reason. Okay, goodbye. So basically, guys, discarding and getting new stuff. So we see that the Beauty Sleep will be just like sitting there on the card. And for Toyo, what he actually put down. Oh man, there are a lot of magical trainings. I can tell that by far. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it makes this Fen deck so interesting to play, but also difficult to play because you have a lot of choices. Yes, you tend to have all the information because you have so many 1 mana after you effects, but you still need to solve the puzzle at the end of it, which easier said than done, right?
Yes.
Also, want to point out quickly that the Loki's has that double boost condition, aka you need 2 boosted characters in play for it to go off.
Yeah.
That currently won't be the case for Tasia.
Yeah.
It kind of means you need an anchored character or a Hydrocana in play in order to be able to proc this Loki effect. And if there is some timely removal, then that could get very awkward very quickly. And actually, we see the draw for Erlea. There's no anchor characters going on.
Yes.
And it might be quite tricky for them to actually get this setup that they need into play.
And it's just like super interesting by the fact that basically you could potentially play the Daughter from Yggdrasil just like out of the reserve, put it to sleep, just like wait for an additional turn, right? So that you can actually activate the Loki. Because right now, as you can see, there would be like a super cool setup for Toriro, basic on the card if we see like the ML and some other stuff, to just like basically draw out more and getting like more utility. But I think like if you're facing against someone like earlier, then you basically know, okay, there will be something coming out that removes something from myself, so... And after the decklist got leaked on stream, guys, I mean, maybe? No, just kidding, but it's the turn for Toyo now. And it seems like that he actually start to play out, the... Oh, Cruder Mech Promoter. And I actually see that every card from Toyo is foiled. That is a statement. Look at this.
Yeah, that is
a statement. That is a statement. I mean, if I would have POD, I would also do it like that.
But you do have POD.
I have POD, but those PODs are waiting like half in a year sometimes. Like, I still wait for my first order, so... yeah, you see, same like Hero.
It does look like that Daughter of Yggdrasil does get played out from reserve.
Yes.
And I think kind of the blessing and the curse for Alea here is that they can't really afford to play around removal, so they just kind of gotta go for it. But we also have this benefit of seeing there isn't really any removal going on, and here we go. You don't even need to beauty sleep your own character. Your opponent is doing the work for you here with that twinkle.
Super interesting to choose that, because right now Toru got 1 mana left. I mean, could use the Twinkle basically to just like reduce this, like the cost of that. Could also just like potentially play out the Martingale, and would be totally enough to just like progress through the Hero Expedition, because right now Alea can't do anything against it. I mean, still got like the Twinkle, so Twinkle still could do like a change at some point. So with that right now, I mean, you could go for the Martingale. You could also go for the Ouroboros Incaster with the reduction cost. So there are like plenty of options right now to choose between it. But just like for the safiness, maybe I would choose the Martingale. I mean, I don't know the hand cards from our opponent, but for the safiness, I would go just like with that.
It's actually really awkward because we know there's that beauty sleep in hand for Alea as well. Right, there's one discount.
Okay. Put it in there.
Interesting to use the discount from the unique instead of the Twinkle.
Yes, but maybe wants to keep the Twinkle, and with the Ouroboros Incaster still being able to just like returning the magic training back to hand. So the unique is quite not just like being too used, and then it's of course like what you prefer. And if you know, okay, it's a ramp deck, and then you have the Twinkle can just like put those big boys to sleep.
It is a really good card theoretically in this matchup, but look at the situation. Alea can beauty sleep and actually get an expedition lead here.
Yeah.
It's going to be set up as well, so that next turn, most likely there will be a trade of expeditions because of that. You know, both players have a sleeping character in opposite expeditions, and that's just a perfect setup for this Loki.
Yeah.
I mean, how many cards are getting removed here by that Loki? There's 2 in reserve. There's going
5 or 6 hand cards, oder?
Yeah, I think there's going to be 6 cards in hand.
Yeah.
And Alea can just, you know, with almost nothing left, put a card into mana and just say, hey, let's go again. Let's restart.
Let's restart.
But I have an expedition lead.
Yeah. And it's also just like the fact that like almost every cool card that usually it's going directly played. This is crazy. And now Toyo is looking at it, it's like, hold on a second.
That's not fair. You can't do this to me.
Or is that the destroyed card? Or he foiled the card and don't want to show that? Okay. I mean, what is the reason for that? That's a good question, right?
And it might be damaged. It might be bent. It might be some other reason entirely, but yeah, they do have it in person. So it was not the POD. We have narrowed that one.
I'm sorry, guys. We forgot that we are here in France, so POD is almost on the same day as you delivered. Sometimes we're forgetting this. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. No, but actually showing up the hand cards and with that also doing that, this is like super crazy. So there will be a chance to throw out 3 new cards. And this is actually super sad for Fan, because it was like so many good cards. And now, I mean, okay, the magical trading, I mean, hey. Hey.
Safe.
Oh, safe. Safe. Toyo right now, safe.
You know what's extra difficult about the situation? Like, in spite of drawing this magical training, for Fen, this Loki actually has insane stats on the relevant expeditions. It's an 8 stat character right now in that forest, And there's only 3 cards for Fen to figure this out. They have an Anansi, but they have 1 card in reserve. I think they can get over the top of the... Actually, can they even get over the top of this? I'm not sure. They might be relying on a die roll. No, they just can't. They can get to 7/7/7 as far as I can tell, if they're lucky.
Yeah, they can just like pass, basically.
So, actually, Erlea is going to be 3 expeditions up at the end of this turn. And those... that Loki can just be replayed again next turn if they really want to.
I mean, I don't want to say, Toyo, that Toyo is going to be cooked, but this is but he's still thinking to play something out. I mean, it makes sense, but I would assume, if I would know, okay, so I've seen this Loki, right? There's like a good chance that this Loki can potentially just like being played out again, even with like the 2 boost conditions, to just like doing the exact same amount again. So with that, right now, even if like the magical training is coming back to hand, and then you can play it out maybe like Rons or just like another character, then you know by far, okay, those will get like removed again. So this is like super interesting, and we're going to see. Okay. But maybe...
yeah, they're looking to get an Orbo's Trickster into reserve since it is cheaper from there.
Yeah, that's true. And it's going to be removed either way, so it's going to remove either way. Yeah.
So far behind. Well, it's going to be difficult this turn for Loki since, again, there's no anchored character around with that boost. So it's going to be hard to get 2 boosts in one go. But man, Erlea's played this masterfully. Having a bit of an awkward hand, but just making it look perfect.
Yes, and I mean with all those Will o' the Wisp, I mean you can just like basically take over the water expeditions. So it's like not a big deal for that. And it
well,
seems
you can
like
play it on the water expedition. That would be Persephone, right? The Will o' Wisp has a slightly different effect. It just
oh, it's another one. I'm sorry. It's not the one from Lara. I'm sorry. I forgot it's like the plant region.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I mean, stay good, guys. It was a 50-50 chance to be correct or wrong. And
man, I love this take on Tasia. It's so refreshing to see not just anchored characters go. But
that's true.
A person playing this hero for tempo instead, and just very aggressively take expeditions, play these expensive characters. It's really cool.
I mean, what we can see right now here for Toyo is like the fact that even the Loki was damaging a little bit from the turn coming into play. I mean, the hand and also the reserve is not looking bad, like totally. So you still have like all the tricksters, the like 1 trickster in hand. You have like an actually 3 after you right now that he's going to be used if he plays down the trickster and will do it. Yes, indeed. And also just like with the magical training, with the Requiem, also Anansi, Subcribe also being on hand, it's still like a super cool comeback. And also the Twinkle, so basically it seems again pretty good for him. So super good for Toyo right now.
He has a good number of cards right now to work with. It is still going to be an uphill battle to make this comeback happen because typically card advantage only matters. Well, it matters a bit in terms of what choices you have to play.
Yeah, agree.
But it only really matters if one person runs out of cards. And that isn't going to be the case here for a little bit. And that means it would be difficult for Toyo to trade or to double advance as long as Erlea still has a lot of cards to work with. And there's only 2 trades of expeditions needed for this game to end.
As we can see, the Discord pile. Actually, the first time we see someone checking out the Discord pile.
I bet Erlea is used to it with them playing the Loki. They're trying to figure out what do I still need to play around, how many Twinkles are gone, how many Off You Goes, how many Requiems, etc., and I'm sure they are formulating a bit of a plan around it as well.
Yeah, agreeing on that. And okay. So both of them trying cut and did you saw what is there? A beauty sleep. Oh, that's my goodness, the Loki could be activated again if you just like sleep your own card.
Yeah, or you sleep an opponent's card to advance.
No, not a good idea.
No, you want to draw.
You want to see the Loki. Loki.
You do the little Jedi wave in front of Elia. You want to play Loki again.
If I would be the judge there, I would say Beauty Sleep, not only on your own expeditions, not allowed. I'm sorry, Liar, but you need to prove you something, so I'm sorry. No, actually, what is like quite interesting right now, if we can also, beside the gameplay, seeing like in the background of the tables, I feel like there's actually like the first players that stop to play, because as you can see, there are like empty chairs that was filled in on round 5 actually. Back into round 5, and it's like totally empty.
People have dropped from the event.
Or maybe like side events. I knew there were like a quite of side events, and I would be also like, if I not being able to play or like to get anything out of it, right? I would also just like join in the side events, have like a lot of more fun. So it's like maybe, or maybe I'm just like blind-eyed and there it was like empty all the time. So I don't know.
Yeah, it does look like Elia opted here not to put their own character to sleep, and instead is going to be pushing for an advancement on this turn. And, Toyo's just thinking about how they can ideally stop both sides, but with only 4 mana remaining, that will be quite a difficult task.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
They do have that Anansi to work with, but no 1-cost character to go alongside it to stop the Kitsune from advancing.
Okay, taking the Hafer. I mean, still like the Twinkle Twinkle as the Scepter Ender is going to be available, right? So, okay, just like play the next one. And actually,
there's just so much mana already to work with for a while.
And actually both of the Ouroboros Incaster got like only 1 boost, so you can just like either play the Requiem or maybe like the Requiem actually, because then it's the only chance to actually progress through the hero expeditions, because otherwise
Requiem only hits
Scepter Ender, I'm sorry. The Scepter Ender instead of the Twinkle Twinkle, because you don't want to. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're gonna put this Kitsune to sleep in order to at least stop 1 progression, and going to concede the other one. I think their hope here is that Elia will be overloading their reserve and maybe will have an awkward next turn.
But I feel like still with that, I mean, right now you could just like sit on your Loki, right, and on your Beauty Sleep, but with like the next upcoming turn and also have like just like a mana reaping in hand, you could just like focusing on actually keep both of them and just like playing them on the companion side, right? And with that just like progressing, because I feel like right now it seems like super duper good for Elara. Even if Fan right now, aka Torchu, would decide to just like using the Hafer to get like back the Twinkle Twinkle, to maybe also using like a double sleep, right? It's still like being in a super favor for also like the upcoming turn, whatever Toru is sleeping right now. So I would personally prefer to play it out the Scepter Ender, and then just like draw the additional card. But maybe I'm not a, you know guys, I'm not sitting there, so I'm not sitting there at 5 wrong. I could be totally wrong, and but I would do it. I would do that.
I mean, it's just a tricky spot.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. And
there's a lot of options, and this is not the Teja deck you've been practicing against most likely, right?
The next run is going to be here, and here you can just like put the card in reserve, and then you gain 3 free. Okay, I mean, searching for the card.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me. We keep seeing these conditional Loki effects, and it seems those are part. I think that's an active decision, that you want the choice of if you want to activate the effect or not.
Yeah, that's true. What I'm actually just like maybe Elia getting in an interview, because my biggest questions, Elia, if Elia is coming back to stream and chat, why are you using like those unique foilers? And then you're playing out your foiled uniques, but these foiled uniques are not actually sleeved. I have some questions here. I have some questions. They're like really important for me right now. Right. Okay, I mean, it's like, okay, we see the Magpie router is coming to play. And so, with that, I mean...
Andy is not aesthetically pleased.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be real. Let's be real, okay? So, I mean, it's okay, if you have, like, a super high-cost card, and then you want to proxy it, then to show it if you play it out, right? I can understand that. I mean, if I would have, like, the Magic the Gathering black logos in my deck, I wouldn't also just like having it in my deck sitting, right? So I would just like proxy it and then prove that I actually owned it. But it would be on the same page, like I would actually unsleeved put it on the field. So I have questions. I'm allowed to have those questions. I mean, hey. But the bigger
you are allowed to have questions.
Yeah, but the bigger question now is right now, is there like anything that right now Torio can do? No,
there is nothing. They can maybe survive this turn if they beauty sleep. There's nothing left from Erlaya, which I do believe is the case, that there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And then they can play the mouse to actually get a double advance here, high value double advance. But look at the board they're going to have to play against next
actually
turn.
FF'd?
Yeah, they just conceded the game. There was nothing for them to do there. That just really felt like, you know, Fen was trying.
I did want to mention who our 7-0 players are, but a little bit of a spoiler with them already showing up on stream.
Yeah, is it Trace Mirror? No way.
Is currently 7-0 against Rocco as well. I'm wondering if that's Rocco from Team ANT or not, from Italy, but I'm hoping someone might be able to confirm.
Someone
I have no idea.
It should be. Someone told me.
And then we have 4 other 7-0 players currently. They are Gab, Perigo, Gweebs, and Pavina, who did manage to actually beat Heaven last round.
Thank you so much for the follow through. Yeah.
So yeah, all of these players with a really good shot at this point of making top 32.
Yeah, it's
cool to see.
Totally correct, and it's actually, I mean, I feel at this point, if you're going to be 8-0, like an Oris being on top table, even if you start to going 8-3 at some point, you're still like one of those that getting like the highest chance of getting like qualified, just like by the percentage and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I feel like almost like whoever is going to win now is like safe. It's like actually almost like super safe in this place. I knew like that for auto rate you're not being allowed to do an intentional draw, if I'm correct, right? Or,
correct.
Yeah, so sadly it were not going to be faster for most of the players. So yeah, but I mean the decision is made it, so roots are roots. Greetings from Italy. Okay, Ainsem, is this Roscat? Rocco, is it like the one from Italy from ANT?
It is ANT's Rocco.
Oh yeah, it's the Rocco. Oh yeah, you wrote it before. I'm sorry. So let's go, guys. So
okay, so who's on the cast?
Oh,
for this one?
Here it stands PAANDY and Keelan, and you're our analyst for the rest of the day.
All right, very
no,
nice.
only for the next 2 rounds. After that, you can also go. It's
in that case, I am in the kitchen.
Okay, cook something really well. And the starting off for Rocco right now seems to be an Axiom Erasure. And so let's see what else is going to be. There was something played down before. Oh no, it seems like that. I'm sorry. Our Burrows Incas. Oh, is it this one?
Oh
no.
Okay,
oh,
we have a combo sort of deck. We know for a fact that Pumpote's Traced is not focused on a combo.
Yeah.
But it appears that Rocco is playing a pretty strong combo indeed.
Yeah.
We will get to when we see exactly what it does, we'll get to it. But I'm expecting a little bit absurd things from one player, and the other player has a bit more of a fair metagame or game plan associated with their deck. I have no idea which actually fares better into the other because of how infrequently we see this matchup. Traced are a bit of an endangered species at the moment, so it's so cool seeing 2 of them with, again, different configurations up here at the 7-0 table.
I mean, what we could saw, like, from the last table, because Pompote actually was, one time in the stream on round 4 or 5, I don't remember. With that was like super interesting because we saw he's not playing like one of those, I would say, like trays that we saw like on the upcoming, like the last weeks, with all those like specialized uniques that play like in a certain way. It was somehow just like kind of an original taste trace, I would say, with just like the Anansis that just like going strong out onto the battlefield, and with that just like getting like a lot of boost, and then there's like a lot of pressure to going to it. And I'm super interested right now how this game we're going to be in end, because this is like something always that we need to compare at the end. It's like if you're playing like a deck that is surrounded by a certain mechanic, and this certain mechanic doesn't show up, then you're getting like a lot of problems, right? And if you have, on the other hand, like a deck that is just like going to base to the roots, I would say in that case, it's just like playing with like the basic thing that the deck is basically all the time doing. It's just like hard to guess sometimes. It's like if you're going for this or that, how it's like going to end. And we see the Anansi is going to the end. Look at this beautiful card, guys. It's just like a double boost basically, with putting something in the reserve, and with, oh, frozen delivery. I mean, what else could be better in the reserve, just like sitting right now?
Yeah, it's not only that, but it's just the stats that thing puts out on its own essentially mean, like, yeah, you start with a Axiom Salvager, and realistically, you're not going to be able to contest that expedition this day. Really good stats. That's 4 boosts on it. It's already natively a 2/2/3, so we have a 6/6/7 just getting played out there. And with just, what is it, 4 mana or 1 mana left now, I believe, with the
it's 1 mana. It's 1 mana
for
both. Yeah.
So they can potentially go over something still, but it's gonna be a little bit rough, I would say, as far as their ability to contest that card specifically. But, you know, overall, it's still looking like things will be a 1-for-1 trade here this day. That does favor slightly the player who's already ahead a little bit. And the one who's ahead on the Traced Hero ability power-up already. Currently, Pumpote sitting at 3 counters on Traced already, needing 5 to enable that hero ability. Rocco on just 2, but again, I'm wondering how potentially game-breaking the unique setup might be from Rocco. That is really the thing that might change this dynamic entirely, and again, I'm not really sure what tempo Pumpote's supposed to have in order to be able to fight against this.
It's just like agreeing on that. And as we can see now, it's going to be into the next turn. So there was just like an expedition to move forward again for Pumpote. As we can see right now on the hand cards, there will be the Gremlins, but directly go into the mana. So the key bronze for Pumpote will be the Axiom Salvager, as well as the Hooked, that actually saved like a lot of turns in the last time that we saw that. And for Rocco right now, we can see quite of some special cards. Oh, there's like the Keelan Elemental, also of the second unique with like when a robot joins the Expeditioner, and then you control a token, then you return a card from your hand. And on the mana, oh, it's now, I didn't see what's come into the mana. Did you see that? What he placed down in the mana zone?
I actually cannot recall.
It's okay. But the Killing Elemental is going to be played.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that we do know that they kept the Killing Elemental, which I assume is there to try to power up that Traced Hero ability as quickly as possible. Notably, though, that card doesn't play super well into Hooked specifically, because it is possible that relevant stat line that it has of being good at, you know, fighting on the mountain and water, where that is exactly where the Traced is looking to try to move forward on the other side. Suddenly Hooked could change that dynamic entirely. So definitely, you know, it's one of these weird stat lines with the spike stats where you can get punished by Hooked there. But even then, I still think that the pace that Pumpote's at is not quite fast enough for that to be like critical so far. It's a bit of card advantage and a way of finding a progression through something that's a little bit annoying. But again, I'm not super worried for Rocco just yet.
So it's like, it's like agreed on it. So as we can see, the second Reich is going to be placed down now, so the ability could be potentially activated. So as you can see right now, when another robot joins your Expeditioner, hold on, is being able to return something back? Or is it like it's a different card? Okay, I'm sorry, it's a different card, guys. It's your way return a card from a reserve to your hand, and then when a robot joins your expeditions, you return a card from a reserve to your hand. Now we got it, guys. It was just like a different deck. And Starshine Simon was just like undefeated traced. I thought that Axiom was bad and unplayable according to Discord. And as you know, Discord is always correct. It's just like a roulette deck, and I think it was luck. I mean, Rocco, Pompote, how could you do that with Trace? No, actually, Rizar Pompote actually one time on round 4 or 5 onto the stream, and it was just like super crazy. It was super crazy. The sleeves look like a butthole. Oh yeah, somehow.
Well,
I just accorded to the chat. I just like accorded to the chat.
Thanks for reading out the chat live, Pandy. That's perfect. And thanks, Simon, for that lovely take.
Yeah.
Of course, regardless of your takes on what his sleeves look like, it's still better than the takes of virtually everyone on the official server general chat. I still blame Simon for that to a degree because he is technically a moderator.
You're a mod, so it's your fault. Yeah.
But I blame Cole even more than that because Cole is also a moderator.
I think both of them are the fault. Yeah.
And given Cole's background, I would have assumed that he's bullied off all of those people by now, but apparently he's failed in that path. So, still some progress to be worked on. Notably as well, I wanted to mention, that Ouroboros Inkcaster, it was pretty important that they showed the correct one on screen there, because they were indeed very different there.
Yeah.
But that specific one, because it both was played from reserve and then gets to return a card from reserve to hand when it's played from reserve, meant that it was able to add 2 counters to the Trace Hero ability for the price of 1. So instead of being a day late on that, it was perfectly on time. So that's a really nice little interaction there that helps a ton.
Yeah, that's true. It was like a super cool card because with the Step Sniffer going to be back there, was just like a nice have to play. So right now, we see basically a card that could activate maybe the things that wants to go to play. It's the bug fix, and I would say with the Keelan Elemental going to be placed down, or just like the activation of Trace's ability. And 2bits, thank you so much for your follow. This could be potentially going to be activated right now. And directly going to be played out. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, good stuff.
Yeah.
I am not too surprised to see this coming out because I'm very much assuming that the next thing that will likely come out from Rocco is bug fix. So that is the combo that this unique sets up for. Is this card for 1 mana? What it's going to do is it'll make a brass bug. It'll trigger that whenever another robot joins your expeditions. If you control a token, which the brass bug, helpfully is, in addition to being a robot, you may return a card from your reserve to your hand, which will also end up being, most likely, the bug fix, which he immediately picks back up.
So you got the bug fix, it's going to be placed there, it's going to be back. And just like basically using mana mobs for that. I got to mute the stream, but I'm leaving up. Oh, thank you so much, Starshine Simon. Basically, for those who don't know who is Simon, beside the fact being a mod, it's the tournament organizer from the A-Roll. So super cool that you look up there, Simon? And so the bug fix, got like activated 2 billion times, and that's it, right? With that now.
You activate the bug fix as many times as you have mana. So you get 1 2/2/2 brass bug per mana in whichever expedition you prefer. It's pretty darn good. Not too much to say about that. It's good little combo. It does rely on you having that unique in play to enable it, so it is still potentially vulnerable to either a sabotage effect on a unique before it gets played out, or removal on the unique as well. But it's just a good one. Very synergistic. It plays well. It plays into decks that can even put out really massive stats otherwise. Because it turns out 1 mana for a 2/2/2 brass bug is a very good exchange rate.
And just like to mention there, if Pompote right now is not being able to find anything that's going to be remove this Ouroboros Inkcaster, then this bug fix we're just like endlessly going to be used again. And then I already will say like it's super tough for Pompote to just like facing it down, right? So let's see how this one goes on. But right now for Rocco, it seems looking pretty good. I mean, also his whole team is shouting and cheering for him at the beginning of this round. And I feel like this energy, guys, from Italy, it's come directly to him. And it's cool that you have so much energy, because I know it's super hot in Italy because I have family living there. So I know what's happening. I know what's happening down there.
I think we also have a bit of a scenario where the matchup is just so poor for Pumpote. And the reason why I say that is I think in lieu of actual removal, Pumpote's playing hooked and virtually nothing else, which makes sense when a lot of your strategy is around like saying, yes, I can remove permanents still with Grems. Yes, I can put out efficiently costed threats thanks to being able to play them from reserve for potential upside. And yes, I have uniques that are very large in terms of stats for their cost, but what they can't do is just discard something. And they really need to just be able to discard away the Ouroboros Inkcaster and be done with it. There's other factions that can do that. I mean, I think the best one there for that sort of effect would likely just be Kojo. Just snipe off something with a Duel of Grit or a Mana Eruption and be done with it. But unfortunately for Pumpote, they can never be done with it. There will be, until they can actually remove the Inkcaster, it's just going to be a 1 mana Brass Bug. Every single mana.
Every single mana. And it's like totally hot. You see it on Pumpo's face.
I would say every single day, but I don't think there's going to be another day after this one.
No, totally agreeing on that. And it's actually crazy because Pumpote has like a totally different way of how to just like sitting there, because there before he was actually sitting like super relaxed, and now he's being like, oh my goodness. The bug fix accident, it's going to happen. I mean, we see the next Anansi. Maybe it could help out a little bit. I don't know about that Anansi yet. Now we have only, with over 50% of you, what could go wrong? Oh, only 32? Okay. I mean, it's like good. That was us 2 days ago here in Switzerland. Yeah, guys, it's hot in your country. We got it. It's hot in Switzerland as well. No, we actually got our hottest day. It was 38 degrees outside, and this was ridiculous. It was super crazy. And also seeing hot plays, actually just like seeing this hot unique. And okay, it's just like game 1 boost for each card in reserve. And with that, okay, where's the card landed? Didn't he play it out? Oh no, it's just like put down into reserve. It's just like got put down into reserve. I'm sorry. I thought it's got like played out. We see here right now that the Icebound Peak is there, but it actually, even if like the Anansi could be potentially play out right now and getting like a lot of boost, no, actually the robots wouldn't help with that. It's like 2, 4, 6 with those robots right now, and the Anansi would have, so the Anansi could potentially block out the Hero Expedition. The companion side, I'm sorry. Potentially.
Yeah, that is true. That is indeed the case. But I guess luckily for Rocco, even, I mean, not that they need too much more to go their way, but luckily for Rocco, they have additional setup that they can do as well.
Yeah.
So it is likely that they are going to be able to take, I think, the 1 progression this day, and then otherwise have this Icebound, what is that, Icebound Peak set up for the potential next day, which should be, honestly, probably just as explosive.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that. I mean, what is like quite interesting now for like the upcoming turns is like the fact that this Ouroboros Inkcaster will not just like being there anymore. And as we can see on the hand from Rocco right now, it's also the fact that there is like a Coppelia. I don't know if the Coppelia during the same effect. And maybe we can going to see that under the clean feed. As soon as the cards is sitting, because if not, maybe then there would be like a cool comeback for Pumpote, just like the facing off. But if I'm seeing now that this Coppelia also have the same effect, then it's looking really, really hard. It's looking really, really hard.
Yeah, really, really tough spot. I mean, it is nice that they're still alive, though, thanks to this Anansi. There is a world, then, where if there is no backup for that combo strategy, they would be able to find a way through. But I think we already saw that there is that additional unique still. I could be wrong. Maybe.
I don't know which unique it is.
Yeah, there is. Okay, there is a Coppelia unique.
Yeah, and I don't know which effect. Yeah, that was like, I don't know which effect.
I am sure the effect is exactly what they need. I would be
if
it's otherwise.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, there it is.
And it can be played out for free. That's like even harder. And there's like still no removal. I'm not even sure if Pumpote in general is playing removals in the deck.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was saying before. I really doubt it. I have a feeling that only one is hooked, or maybe there's like a one of something else.
Like,
sometimes we've seen that
kill
from
and
Trace
burst or
before,
something like that.
playing
Could
like
be
a single kill on burst or a single avalanche in some circumstances. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's just I guess probably the one matchup where it's the most relevant here at this point.
And this is like quite interesting. And we see like 2 bug fixes now. So actually oh no, I'm sorry. The other one is a different card. I'm sorry, guys. No, it's a bug fix.
Well, there's 2 bug fixes.
There's 2 bug fixes. I was correct with like the 5% of seeing the card. But actually, as we can see this right now, Prompod will be the starting player. Just like thinking about how many prospects do we want, and the answer is yes, the Coppelia. And I mean, like every card from Rocco is saying like yes, all cards please. Just like handing me down to them. It's like super interesting because right now Prompod actually played something else, so we see the press puck is going to be there. And okay, just like reduced a counter for it. That's interesting.
Reduced the counter for...
Yeah. For traced.
Ah, yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
It's so that you can play this out first before playing out your unique and giving any information.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean,
because you have the backup bug fix, you can do this without any worry as well. And it doesn't really mean much because you know you can play out a card from your reserve no matter what, so you're not stressed about being able to activate that trace ability again anyway.
And it's also just like the fact that right now with the Zap Sniffer, you're getting like the 5th counter. You can actually go to place down something else for the... I forgot the name of the card. I'm so sorry. From the landmark. How it is called in English? The landmark from Rocco. The...
Icebound Peak.
Icebound Peak, yeah. Thank you so much. So with the Icebound Peak, I mean, it's actually going to be... Oh no, it's actually got removed with the Gremlins. So I want to say, because with that, this would be like super disgusting, but let's see how Prompod will react after the Coppelia actually going to be placed down.
I want to mention something that's pretty cool as well. Rocco did actually miss a trigger as far as their trace ability is concerned to get that 5th counter back on it. But it was a very quick, relatively quick realization. I mean, in other games that could sort of be penalized sometimes, but in this case, it's very clear as well from the official tournament guidelines. They want to enable simple rollbacks for things that should be very obvious like that, and don't really affect anything else in that way, where like it's not like the opponent has made a different decision based on it or whatever. They want to enable that, and of course that is then potentially a little different for high stakes play, but not being in the top 32 yet. We're not at high stakes play. This is just competitive, so it's encouraged that people accept rollbacks in that way. So I just like that. That's the dynamic of how it's going on.
And it's GG because there's like nothing else that Prompod could do with that. I mean, an incredible deck for Rocco. I mean, seeing actually 2 trays being on the undefeated table, it's like super crazy. So. Congrats to both of them. Eva just like Rocco going to be out as a winner with this deck. And yeah, just like for the rule that you say, I also like the rule about the fact being of, hey, I just like did something forget that usually would just like came around and wouldn't change like that much, so I can still do that. And this is like a super cool fair play. So, again, Frieeeends, your last task for this evening. You can also stay longer if you want to. Totally free.
Very well. I will retreat to the confines of the kitchen.
Yeah, go to the kitchen. And Jojo gegen Sigismar, who wouldn't know that? I knew it. And is Stonifer playing Silas? After we played Silas in one of these streams before.
Yeah, we love to do that, right?
Yeah. We got we got cooked.
You know, that's okay. We can still be right if we believe hard enough, and sometimes it's hoping, but that's okay. But you know what? Both these players doing really fantastic. I'm glad to see as well that player on the... Oh, wait, that's interesting. Did I get something wrong with who's undefeated? Because I believe that the player that... the player that Pavine is playing against, I believe, is X1, at least according to the Melee.gg tournament. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the interesting
crazy.
part.
But
but again, the username is also different, at least than the one listed.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming it's just a pseudonym, and also I'm very much assuming that the top player, the Sigismar, is currently 7-1. that might need correction from someone, but we will see. I have a feeling that this, that should be that mixed-matched matchup where Pavina was indeed down-paired.
Yeah. And as you can see for the start of, it was just like the Frog Prince, and Pavina already just like start to pull up everything. I mean, there is still like an Alteredtcg being placed there for Donovan, so could be placed out to actually also providing the double progression with that. And so it's just like an, oh, okay, it's rolling a dice. Oh yeah, because it's going to be in the pass by. I mean, with the mass right now, and in addition the character coming to play, Pavina we could be like easy going to be back into the place of like just like returning back. And what I actually also seeing like that actually the, oh no, it's like the same Kocho. It's like not the old Kocho version. That would be crazy if this would be like the old promo Kocho. And withdrawing the cards, ooh, we see the first unique coming out. Okay, super interesting.
Ooh, I haven't quite seen what it is yet.
It draws an Ouroboros Trickster.
Oh, it draws cards. It draws cards.
It draws cards. Okay.
All right.
Okay, Pavina knew what cards.
Yeah, good old card drawing uniques from Kojo. I think those really are flavor of the month as well. It's funny. I think it's both of these two decks are ones that are operating in really similar ways in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Both of these decks being heavily focused around making use of removal and cheap overstated characters.
Yeah.
Just in a little bit of a different way, but both of them heavily rewarded for fitting in uniques that do help a little bit on the card advantage end.
And as you can see with that, the Frog Prince will be just like going to be placed out again. I mean, also just like on a really good expedition spot for now. So right now for Pavina, it's like either the chance of just like playing the Trickster right out now, and I think it's going to be a draw card when it comes onto play, if I remember the cards correct. Or yeah, it's the arrow.
Looked like an arrow.
Yeah, it looks like an arrow. So drawing a card when it comes into play, and if you control 2 more boosted characters, just like another roll die. That's cool. Actually, a super cool card for Kojo. Super interesting to see that. And it's the duel of crit. Oh, that's crazy. Right now.
Duel of Grit, definitely a good one. It can definitely help, especially, I would say, especially in this sort of case against, I think the card that I would most like to hit with something like that would be along the lines of an Ortis Attorney, even. Just getting that out easily would be, I think, a really good way to keep using your card advantage that you get from a unique like that and preventing your opponent from getting something started in that way. Notably, I am slightly familiar with the uniques that Donovan typically uses when they play. I did see them on AWOL Monday about a week ago. That was this week. And they were running multiple uniques that had a draw 2 effect on it, interestingly enough, but at a slightly higher cost typically than what you would than what you'd often see from Sigismar. So it's oftentimes like very temporary, slightly mid to late game even uniques in that sense, because a lot of the other draw effects that you're looking to see out of Ortis are often even at like 2 mana.
Yeah, and as we can see right now, if it's going like to be the hard hand, as well as Kojo will be the starting player, we see not only a Jack Frost, but also just like an Order Spy, so the chances are like potentially high that if, Pavina would choose now to using the reserve, just like an action that Donovan can prevent it a little bit with the cards that going to be there. But then actually also the reserve is getting to be like super duper overfloated. So I feel like the chances are high now that we can see just like the Order Spy into the Alteredtcg coming into the play. And I feel like this is like one of the biggest problems that a Sigismar actually needs to face like always when it comes against Kojo. That just like the thing of like, I play like super cheap cards and then try to progress with that is similar to the plan that actually Kojo is doing. And so you also need to use like a lot of resources basically. And if you're not being able to draw a card early, or just like to keep that, then it's super hard. And if a Kojo getting the mass that early, like we saw from Pavina, and I feel it was like a super overstated like turn, just like play out almost like the whole hand card, just like giving out the fire rate with fleeting and seeing that Pavina still being able to just like manage to go even like further onto resources is like one thing that Donovan right now needs to figuring out how to going to be against that. because it just could be just like the Haven Serengar, and even if it's just like a 1-for-1 trade, and Doniphan would be only like 2 expeditions down to actually close out the game, it's still like that as more resources getting to use, then Sigismar can potentially have like a really, really big problem. So I'm super excited to see how Doniphan will work that around. So yeah.
I think it's really interesting because this game is so immediately highlighting both what Sigismar is really good at, but exactly why the configuration, especially this permanentless configuration that they're running. Again, yeah, a little bit of a spoiler there. I'm pretty certain their list does not run any permanence in it. They are so reliant on card draw effects in order to make sure they continue to have enough gas. Donover, yes, they were off to a blistering pace early on. We did see them put cards like Silas Cryptic Warlock into the mana, which are potential card draw for the deck. But just keeping in mind that in this matchup especially, the player who's typically much further ahead is the one who gets off to a better pace in the early game. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense that they were focusing on putting those slightly later game cards into the mana instead, but they have been as of yet unable to find something like an Ortis Attorney or a Gift of Self to reclaim some of that lost card advantage. So yes, although they are ahead on the Tumult, I'd say that the card advantage is a big worry for them at this point.
Yeah, it's agreeing on that, and right now Pavayana needs to decide if it's like either the Haven Serengar being able to potentially just like progress through the hero side, or just like the Duel of Crit. What makes like actually sense, because we need to remind that Doniphan also got like the Auto Spy in hand, and this would be like a brutal turn for the next upcoming, because then being able to play out the Auto Trooper as well as the Auto Spy from hand, as well as the Jack Frost. So this would be like hurting so much for Pavayana, especially if you play around Rifty Mass. So the Duel of Crit actually providing that, and as we can see, Auto Spy got played out directly, so even the Haven Serengar are going to be removed. It's just like a 1-for-1 trade right now. And this is crazy.
Yeah, which, I mean, is good for Sigismar. Sigismar, when they're that low on resources, they need to find something that they can do if they're not drawing cards off of it. They removed a couple things they don't want to deal with from Pavina's reserve, but for the most part, I think the really relevant dynamic there is that Pavina was very okay with that outcome. When they made that decision to shoot away that Jack Frost with the Duel of Grit, they were recognizing, yes, my opponent will be able to play another card and take out at least one of the expeditions there. But as long as they don't find much more than that, it's totally okay. There are 2 cards now in the reserve of Sigismar's. They have 2 cards in their hand that they draw at noon, in the morning rather. Only one of those can go into mana. That's a grand total of 3 cards that the Sigismar is going to be working with. And so, if the game goes any longer, I think it's going to massively favor Pavina. They just need to survive and stabilize as quickly as they can right now.
Yeah. It's actually true, and as we can see right now, who's with something? Okay, so hold on. Oh yeah, just like Sartre auto draw, and it's like an Auto Spy again, just like directly play Starwood makes sense against the Warrior. Just like now, it's like a really cool spot, because usually now, I mean, like what like makes sometimes many sense, or what I see as well, is just like, hey, I play the Auto Trooper on the other side, the Auto Spy on the other side, and then you need to choose with that. But right now, then we'll make like a really good decision to just like focusing on run expeditions, so that even if the Duel of Crit will potentially hit something, then it's just like not make the like a big change. But we can see the Snowman going to be placed down as a rare version. So being able to just like block out and rift the Auto Trooper. So 1 mana left. Is it 1 mana left? Yeah, it's only 1 mana left. So 1 Autos Trooper, and actually also the last Autos Trooper, going to be there, and with the 2 mana left again, so actually the Duel of Crit, it doesn't matter like that much if the Autos Trooper going to be placed down on the hero or companion side, because the Duels of Crit can potentially just like hit it, and it would be like super hurtful. But maybe Doniphan could decide now, okay, I play it out now, and then okay, he's passing, makes sense to just like pass it out.
Yeah, this is a good day for Pavina. It is exactly what they needed as far as stabilizing is concerned, but it's also costing them a lot of resources, we have to keep in mind. Of course, Donover did choose to not mana this day in order to enable that play, and all they have for it is essentially just that they have a single card in hand now. Still, I'd say situation is largely really similar for them. They're really reliant on either finding a trump card that really goes over what Pavina is looking to do, something like the Sandman potentially to find a way to cheese out expeditions, or otherwise some way of regaining some of the lost gas at this point. And there is a Sandman, notably. It is a unique, however, and it does not sleep from the front side. I can read you the text right now. It says, Arrow, you may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, draw 2 cards. From reserve, you get to pay 1 and give up to 1 target character a sleep. But it's not that like cheese out expedition win Sandman. This is more of a massive card advantage Sandman over time.
Just like you try answer because someone said mess sucks in chat and I'm saying mess don't sucks. It's like one of the coolest cards for our Bravos. I just like you to say that, Psycho. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Well, I think the mess is going to really show its value in this game, where even if Donover is able to pull the game a little bit closer with that whole card advantage thing, the problem virtually is that despite all of the sabotage that they've been doing themselves, I don't think the Kojo is ever going to run out of resources, and it's largely because of that mess. It's also a situation where the Sigismar cannot afford to ever remove it with license withdrawal, and we know, at least from the uniques that I can see from their deck list, there's no other way to interact with it as well. So it's just a perpetual card advantage engine that they can't really interact with.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that. And so as you can see, Rift being the starting player right now, I mean, there's still like the potential chance of just like Rift, still decided to getting on the 5 mana. Okay, I mean, it still makes sense with the Autostrooper in hand, but if this is like continuing and Pavina Rights now being able to just like not only progress, but maybe also blocking one Expeditioner, this seems like super hard for the Niva right now. And this is like one of the baddest things that could potentially happen for you as a Sigismar. If you're not being only down on resources, but then you don't being allowed to mana anything, to just like at some point maybe going back up to the game road, because Rifted is just like sitting here, and let's see, there's like the Sandman for forecast. I don't know if they showed like what the Sandman do actually. I would be super interested.
They have shown it, and I it's the one that I read out before as well. It's card draw. It only sleeps from the back half. So again, it's not useful for really cheesing out a progression this day. Notably, its stats are also only on forest and water, so it does not stall on mountain. It's, you know, the turn order is actually so favoring Pavina here as well. Having that Buddha token this day is so important. The fact that they're not only going to be threatening a progression for free on that side, but also blocking so well means that it's so hard for Donover to even start to contest. We see the Snowman come out right away, and it's already so massive on precisely the right expedition terrain to really make it so hard for Donover to even play the game at all.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that. And it's actually just like the fact that right now it seems super hard. I mean, I thought he would shaking the hands. One of the things that's like super scary, if you don't have like any sounds, like any movement could be like 100 things actually going to be happening right now. But no, it's just like using the discard pile. But I would shake hands with that. If I would be on the latter gameplay, shaking the hands. No, but actually there is like still a chance from Donovar for sure. Just like to getting it out maybe during a tiebreaker or just like progressing. But what we can see right now in the hand for Pavina is just like super brutal, because the mountain expedition can be super easy blocked out by the tiny chin that's just like sitting on there. And now we can see, is it okay? It is the Order Spy to block that expeditioner, but right now there could be either just like the Browse Tracer or also the Chiron to potentially just like save it for that moment, right? Oh no, the Frog Prince. Yeah, the Browse Tracer? Yeah, the Browse Tracer could save it. Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
no!
There is wow. What an amazing play. That's really recognizing their own knowledge of the metagame, honestly. The fact that they could expect that a potential Frog Prince could come out, and that would definitely explain why Donover makes that exact line. I think really with that read, I think that's pretty close to a lock on the game, truly.
Yeah.
They had to commit so much to that play, and realistically, I don't know if there's any way that the Sandman could get played out without losing them the game at this point. Again,
Yeah.
I guess the one good thing about it is that now the expeditions that Pavina that she's on are ones that the Sandman actually has relevant stats
that's
for.
true.
But it's so hard to make this work. Donover is completely reliant on the top of their deck. They know it. They've mounted the card. They've resigned themselves to it. They really needed that Frog Prince play to pay off the last day.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also just like the pure fact that you're basically... I mean, the Sandman could be in a chance. I mean, you could also just like going to be place out the... I forgot the name in English again. The run cost spell to boost up.
Rallying Call.
Rallying Call, yeah. And as we can see, just like put the card from the hand in reserve, draw 2 cards. But I feel like it doesn't change like that much, right?
Yeah, there's exactly one copy of Ortis Trooper left in the deck as well, which would be the best draw, but there's so few of those. I guess there's Aegis Templar, which could be a potential character in addition. So, yeah, even if but that's not really any different than the Rallying Call. And, I think the fact that Pavina has a Chiron as well is going to make the math even harder to figure out for the Kojo in order to... for the Sigismar, just to survive.
Yeah, and oh no, this stream is loading. No!
Stream!
No!
Stream, please!
And we need to watch an ad! Oh.
No.
Why? Why no clean feed?
No, that's so painful.
No!
This isn't just us screaming. I'm pretty sure it just went down briefly or hiccuped briefly for everyone, but we are stuck on watching an ad there. Oh,
let's give some money. Let's give some money. It's okay. Oh, Hellman's 3 mayonnaise. It's actually really tastes for mayonnaise. The French stream, right? Yes. No way. No way. I mean, I think I know what happened. Every Sigismund player just like dogs this stream to just like prove the game. Okay, right. It's going to be.
This is what happened with all the people complaining how Sigismar is the best deck and it's completely unbeatable at this point. Yeah. They saw Sigismar who was starting to lose and they were like, pull the plug, we can't show this live.
No.
It does seem that the stream is down now, but yeah, let's figure out what was happening there. I don't think I didn't see the 2 cards that were the ones that were drawn off of that Sandman, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think. What could be a potential way of saving Donover from what we know was already the case for Pavina? They had... What did they have? They played out a Ortis Spy to sabotage away the 1 card left in reserve.
And it's back!
Okay, we're back.
Luckily. Whew.
And I'm stuck on an ad again.
Oh, yes! Guys, we're back. I mean, maybe everyone...
Another day.
What? Rigged? This is rigged.
All right.
This is rigged. No way. Rigged.
All right. So, that's good for Donover that you did manage to survive that day.
Yeah.
Still a slight amount of advantage for Pavina. But hey, very much alive still, actually.
Yeah.
And notably, the Sandman from the back half does have a potential sleep effect. So it could be really relevant here, actually.
What a clutch, Tiny Chin. Yes. Totally agreeing on that. And I mean, Rifted, it's just like, how did Donover actually get that? Rifty Sandman and your Railing Call. Just like super interesting for me. How we could get
I assume that there was still just not enough mana for Pavina to be able to stall the second side, and they trade 1-for-1 yet again. But keep in mind, this is a day now where Pavina again has the Buddha token, so it's still a tough one for Donover to navigate.
True, but as we can see here right now, for Donvina could be played out also one of the best cards for Ortis as well. The Common Templar, just like a small pass by, and just like, just like needs to clarify which expedition he chooses with that. because it also depends then where the token is going to be placed down. I mean, we see the Tynigen here coming down with an addition of 2 boosts, so the Mountain Expedition right now could be progressing with that. And as we can see, ooh, I mean, there's still like the teamwork training, and is this the other teamwork training in the alt art? That's the other teamwork training here behind it, right? Donovan, put your hands up.
I'm looking as close as I can.
Yeah, put your hands up. Oh, yeah, it is. No! Oh, don't do that so fast! Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay.
That goes to mana, okay.
Yeah, that goes to mana, and also the art never showed again. No, but actually it's like a pretty good thing, because right now Donovan would be able to do it just like again, and also being able to play out the Templar as well as the teamwork training again. And this could be potentially also just like enough to getting rid of the Buddha, because right now, I mean, okay, playing the Auto Spy, getting an Auto Trooper and as an additional card for that, because it's like the rare version.
Yep, that's
and it's a set run. Alright, it's the set run. And 2. And yeah, good morning, Potato. And it's like now a super interesting thing now how to do that.
You know, it is really, really important here that Order Spy does make that additional token. The biggest threat that's known at this point is that Sandman that from reserve threatens to sleep something while adding stats to the companion side.
Yes.
Currently, if the Order Spy was slept by the Sandman, there would just be that 1 stat from the 1/1/1 Ortus Recruit, but at least that blocks versus the Ortus Recruit on the other side. So there's still, you know, an easy way to go over it by 1 with something like a Chiron boost or a Scouted Talarian Skater even. Which would potentially bring the game to a tiebreaker arena, even if it was looking that poor for Pavina. Again, though, Pavina's just down to 2 cards, or I'm sorry, 2 mana left, so they're very much, running on empty now as well. So this one's going to be really tight. I think it's going to come down to whether a removal spell or like a removal effect with that Sandman is good enough to take it, or whether that Sandman can potentially draw another 1-cost play for the Ortus player.
And this is like, yeah, this is like a good reason to consider that. I mean, the easiest way would be just like play out the teamwork training, right? Or just like play out the Templar, play out the teamwork training. So there's like a safe arena right now that's coming to be down with that, because the only card that could be potentially stood like out to play is the Chiron, because even if the Sandman is coming down and then you need to rely on the luck of like, hey, maybe I have another 1-cost card, then you could just like sleep something away, sleep from reserve, and Sandman costs 1 extra. Oh, it costs 1 extra actually. Okay.
Yep.
And hey ho, freeloader, hold on. Hold on. Haha, second freeloader joined in.
So yeah,
but it will be the Templar. Yeah,
exactly. Then there's still Templar plus teamwork training as a potential out here as well.
Yeah. So this is like a super interesting right now, because the teamwork training will be played out as well, but now it's like considering to where to place down the Chiron actually, and which card also going to be boosted up. Because it's just like then the decision to actually, what's going to keep. And oh, it's a May pay. Okay, it's a pay run, as Freeloader told us. Thank you so much, Freeloader. So, interesting now how to handle that.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting position, but I'm almost wondering what the best option for Pavina is, because we know that they have a Talarian Skater and a Fire Rabbit that they can play, and that is in opposite to there being this Chiron. So, all right, what can do it here now? 3 stats versus. Oh wait, ooh, this is really rough, I think. The Aegis Templar, I believe, is still outstatting on that companion side currently, unless I'm seeing something wrong. It looks like, okay, there might be a rewind there.
I mean, Pavana placed it down.
Yeah, but you can, I mean, if it was immediate, the call, it's at least possible that Donovan can allow the rewind there for sure, but we'll see. I think it might depend on whether he's cool with it or not.
Yeah, but he's cool with that. But I think, okay, actually, don't make like that big difference. Oh yeah, it would be actually. It would be the difference, because this would be actually game for Donva.
Yeah.
Actually, really cool that he called out that he can, that Piranha can reward it, because this would be basically the game with that.
Yep.
That is cool. Oh wait, or did ya? Did that just like pass and actually just like explain how it would be an arena? Oh no, it's an arena. Okay.
They're into arena.
Yeah, they're in the arena. Okay. But this is cool. Donva, okay, making sure that he's getting the win. Super fair. Could you be that fair? I wouldn't be that fair if I would be 7-1. I'm honest, guys.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like a personal thing for me, so it's like...
I'm just base level really surprised that Pavina didn't take the line of playing out the 2 potential 1-cost options from the hand, instead going for that Chiron. But I do think there's a significant upside on this day, at least, that the Chiron does potentially represent a lot of additional stats when played from reserve, especially off the back of Haven. So I think, you know, that could be really sweet here for Pavina, but yeah, risky last day.
Yeah, that was super risky. And yeah, the overlay for the expedition cycle, it seems super awesome. And we're also figuring out for Essen how to get it. And with I say Runefolk is going to figuring this out.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a really cool layout they have going on here. And oh, there is the Sandman picked up, the rare version, not just the unique though. The rare version, so incredibly important for these tiebreaker scenarios. But you know what's just as important, I think, is the access to cheap costed plays that Pavina still has access to. Again, the mess can still be activated as well to get an additional one into the reserve. So I would really be surprised if Pavina's not using virtually all of their available mana this day.
Yeah. This is like one of the questions for the why is the deck upside down? Good question. We cannot tell you. But
I'm really glad, by the way, Pandy, that you have access to the stream, the feed, because I'm getting a perpetual ad over there. I've watched like 16 ads in a row, and it still won't.
I mean, infinite money glitch. I mean, it's an infinite money glitch.
You get to hear me be like 10 seconds behind the rest of you as I react to things that I should have clearly
understood.
And
oh my god, the Sonova took the game. No, just kidding.
Oh, you're the worst.
No, actually, it would be super interesting of how this we're going to be down now, because the Sandman actually going to, you could, actually directly put it down, and only for the cost of 3, or was it like 4 that you just like placed down? Okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, it's 4. Okay. I also didn't see that, Piranha. Good that you make the call. And with that, draw 2 additional cards, and so it's getting sabotaged. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. And it's looking really good, because with the Rallying Call going to be able to just like boost up an additional card. We're seeing the mess, and
what Rallying Call are you talking about?
The card that's going to be played. You will see it. You will see the Rallying Call.
I don't see a Rallying Call. I just see Teamwork Trainings and a Sandman.
Huh? You don't see the Rallying Call? I'm behind? I am now the guy who's behind? No. Now, actually, the Chiron is going to be played, right?
Okay, I'm watching the Sandman get played out. Maybe again.
You're being like a little bit like a 1 minute, like a 1 minute down. maybe add a minute to that.
Okay, there we go. Now I think I'm back in things.
Yeah. Okay, that's super interesting, because with that, actually placing down the Sandman, putting to sleep which card? Yeah, actually this card. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, is there like anything else that could be potentially played out? I don't... Will it be enough? Yes?
I mean, I think Pavina has this, right?
Yeah.
It's just going through the motions, right? You just have to play out the Skater, play out Fire Rabbit, you're chilling.
Oh, Don Winva. I would take the win. If I would be you. I would take the win, but it's okay.
think that's it.
That's it, yes?
Anything else that can be done?
But they actually discussed about something. But I have the feeling now, because of the discussion with the judge, that actually Don Winward didn't just like say, okay, you can replace the Chiron.
I have no idea.
Because
maybe we'll hear about that in the future, but
yeah, because I feel like even if the Chiron just like plays down, you also give like the boost to the Chiron, right? So for me, it was like an action that actually ended. It was a decision that you actually made with the boost. So the plays down at least. I mean, you could like,
and it was the end of the turn in that sense, right? So, yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
But, hey, congrats to Pavina.
Yeah, congrats.
One of as well, which is definitely a positive thing for them. So.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And it looks like our opponent for Erlea is Ricky Lockie. This is one of the best historical Fen players, actually, over a long, long time. So,
now.
Cool to see.
And now it doesn't seem like a Fen. It changed a little bit. Dressed up a little bit different right now, as it seems
it's
like.
Really funny. You know, Ricky Lockie was last weekend playing Fen in the Dutch qualifiers, and I think they actually were on stream at some point with it as well. Could be wrong there. But I definitely excited to see whether they're as familiar with this deck that they've picked up. Again, very skilled player in general, so we will see.
I mean, sometimes you lose, and then you just like pick Sigismund and win everything, so...
It sort of makes sense. If you can't beat them, join them. If you're tired of your 0-stat characters getting progressed on by a 1/1/1 Ortis recruit every single day, just play Sigismar. You won't have that problem.
And let's go with that. And as we can see, Alara is starting off with the Turkina. And so to continue that, I mean, it's like right now, someone talked about give me Ramp Muna and Nico. Look at this. We cannot make every wish come true, but this one. don't say thank you. It's okay. It's okay, Nico. What's up? No, actually, it's like super interesting right now, the matchup, because it's just like a different one to like the. Oh, what did Alara play it against before? It was against. It's a super long day. Was it against Azadi?
No, they were against a Fen earlier.
Oh, like the Fen. Oh,
yeah,
crazy. Fen. Yeah,
and nothing the Fen did mattered, even though they drew like 2 extra cards on day 1. It was absurd.
So maybe this would be the big difference right now. I mean,
you know what? I have to say though, the opening hand is a lot weaker this time around. I would say.
Yeah.
No ramp effects in hand, notably. Plays out a day 1 Dracana, which immediately gets license withdrawal. It's a pretty good trade for Sigismar because they progress off of any of those interactions. So. I'd say a decent start for Sigismar, but all things considered, it's still totally fine for Erlea. It's a very playable game.
Yeah, totally agreeing on that. And as you can see right now, I mean, the Comfort Command could be played out as well as just like the Daughter of Icarus. And yeah, what did you mention? What did you realize?
But look at this. There's this Coniferal Cone Man in Erlea's hand. Yeah. Notably, it is rare. And I think one of the deck lists that we picked up earlier that we were looking at
was common.
Showing common ones.
Yeah.
But notably as well, there is a second copy of License Withdrawal now in the hand of Ricky Lockie, and they get to wait and see what Erlea does before they do it. It's like, look at this conspicuous 3 mana.
This is like crazy, yeah. And this is like also one of the reasons where I'm saying like the Autos cry that he played on is like also a super crazy card. Just like as a 1 cost to being a pass by, and also a super strong 2 cost, and it's actually most of the time a replace for the Foundry mechanic basically. Most of the time right now. Yeah.
That was really funny. Ricky Lockie immediately nods in appreciation, seeing the Cone Man, was like, yeah, I'm going to get rid of that one too. Erlea immediately laughing it off, like, yeah.
Erlea plays it out, he's like, no.
Erlea's like, yeah, of course I had the draw where I play out 2 anchored threats on the first 2 days and then get triple advance on.
This is crazy. This is so crazy. Could it be the...
I think I guess there's one little consolation prize, which is that if the game does go long, there are going to be less copies of interaction against Hydrocana specifically if it does get to that. But they have their work cut out for them just trying to get there at this point.
But what we also can see right now is that the Bountiful Meadow as well as the Daughter of Icarus is going to be there. And so it could be also just like, I mean, you could play out the Trachina, right? And then the Bountiful Meadow, and then the Loki could be activated on the next turn. It should be the Loki with the double boost, right? If I'm correct. So it could be like that, because now Loki couldn't prevent like anything from that play. into that.
This one says something about discard the 6707. What am I looking at? I can't tell.
Yeah.
You know, the player who I'm sure knows which Loki it is Erlea. So if it's good, I am sure they'll be playing it out in that way. If it's not, they'll be doing something different. Yeah, one nice thing here for them, again, is that Daughter of Yggdrasil should handily go over whatever the Sigismar is looking to play out. I'm just worried at this point. The fact that the lack of ramp effects thus far, and Sigismar already, you know, starting to close the distance.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I mean, by far right now, even if Loki would not be able to just like progress, I mean, there are like 2... oh man, it's too late in the hours. Oh, the Citronis. Oh. It's like, do you know, if you're getting like tired, you forget like the simple things that you're actually seeing like every day almost, like every day. No, the other Saturni is going to be there, so there'll be just like the chance of just like drawing. And as we can see, the Trakina will be placed down there as well from Elia. And the Daughter of Yggdrasil is just like the only card left going to be there. And it seems like the Loki got the Loki mannered. Did I see it correct?
Because, it's possible.
Yeah.
This is one of these situations where it doesn't feel good to try to play it, or at least over the next like day or. I mean, one, you're gonna need to get to that point anyway, and even then, what are you doing with it? Because unlike the other situation that we were seeing, where a Loki was able to get, for example, Gigantic through the Lyra faction one with Eat Me energy bars, there's no real way to do that here with Tasia.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to make work, I think. And realistically, if Sigismar plays out their hand in a certain way, you're sort of just drawing them cards even.
Yeah, it's true. And as you can see, the other square would be just like placed down again. And I consider on the hero side, yeah. And just like want to remove the boosts, okay? I feel with that Ricky has like another card where you remove a boost and then you get something out of it. Just like, I have like a feeling about it. Not sure if it's like quite possible. But as we can see, it's just like another progression. But even if it's like going to be into that case, it's still right now for Elia that the Loki could be played. But there's like now the question, would it make like actually that much sense to play out the Loki into that case? Because now it's like a whole different topic against Sigismar, because usually, as we saw against Fen, you're always being like super happily. I mean, the last Fen, as we saw when Loki comes to play, had like a bunch of cards in hand, like a bunch of cards in reserve, so it was super awesome to just like getting rid of all of that. But I don't know if it's like the same for Sigismar especially.
I think in this case, the reason why Erlea is likely to go for that Loki play is more so related to the fact that it will likely dodge removal. Yeah, because there's very little removal effects that will actually hit it outside of Sandman. That being a dynamic means that it's not only playing out something that should stall one of the sides, but also getting you closer to a potential Hydrocana and refreshing their own hand when it's not feeling particularly good to play out a Daughter of Yggdrasil against, say, for example, a teamwork training faction. I think that line is just a little bit more awkward for them. So if I had to guess, they are going to play out the Loki here, but we'll see.
Okay, alright. So, as you can see, I mean, the Loki could be just like played out right now, and it's... Oh no! It's you made discard a card from a reserve.
Oh,
so the Loki cannot be played out. Okay, that's good to know.
I guess that's what the word discard means.
On
top of the price.
Oh, now we figure it out, eh?
Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, agreeing on that. But what we can see right now is actually the Will of the Wisp is like coming along, and as we know from the last round that we watched from Elia, is actually like that these Will of the Wisp with just like the Plant Expedition can quite make like a good difference right now. If it's going to be placed down, yeah?
I just wonder. It's going to be hard to make that work super well this day, I have a feeling. On the expedition that the hero side is contesting currently, it's a water expedition, which is not really... so the Will of the Wisp isn't relevant on that one currently. So that's already struggling. And the other expedition, where you're then more incentivized based on the effect to play it on, or based on the stat line even, you already have your larger character there, which makes it a little awkward. Regardless, I think this day is just going to be impossible to play around teamwork training for.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So just like still thinking it's Ilari's turn, yeah. After the Odyssey Tony going to be played out as well, and I mean it's just like you play the Will o' the Wisp or you're not playing it. Those are like the two options now.
Yeah, it's a little awkward because when you play it, you're recognizing that you're going to have 3 cards that enter reserve, so you're going to have to discard 1 anyway, so a little bit of negative value there. But, you know... But actually, you know what? I think there's more. There's some reason to make it seem like there's more of a decision as well, which is that you don't want to give your opponent full information about what you're doing and what your decisions are. So even if the remaining 2 cards, even if one of them you can't play,
yeah,
and the other one has an obvious play, you're incentivized to think about it for at least a few seconds. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Super interesting. 2 mana left. Yeah, it's those things of like 2 mana left. Let's see how it we're going to be look like. So
want to mention as well, Liiike is representing Team Agite. So currently in the top tables, we have representatives from at least 3 different teams. We saw Pavina from Altered Aces, Erlea from Exalt, and Liiike Agite. I know there's some more team-affiliated players up there, but just off the top of my head, just immediately recognizing that, which is pretty cool to see. I love seeing the team representation overall, especially given that we're also representing a team here from this broadcast team ourselves. We like seeing groups work together and put their competitive players to the top.
Yes. And, I mean, right now, like, seeing those states right now for a Sigma spot is always like, if you're just like looking into that, you're being like, okay, it's almost done. It's like GG. But actually now, if it's like always coming like to the mid, or actually we could also start to the kind of late game for Altered, this seems like it's like a super hard thing for Coach right now. So let's see how this could be potentially change. If there's like a change, but the Loki right now, I still think like now the Loki wouldn't make sense to be played outright.
It's really hard to make work here, but it looks like there's no other options really. I think Erlea has to do it.
Yeah.
I was thinking for a little while.
Someone joined in. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Oh yeah, you can also join in. Simon, you can talk with us. Don't mute yourself.
I think I could join this call.
Okay.
I just clicked on it. So hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh.
I was actually just going to say hi to Freeloader, but I mean, I guess I can stick around.
Yeah, if you want, you can join in as well. It's totally fine.
Well,
I'm casting on the AQZ stream and not on the AWOL stream.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, you are welcome. Although, sorry for you, there is no Kojo player in this game currently. But we are looking, and I have to say it. I feel like Erlea is cooked here. It's so hard to make this work because even if they're able to survive this day and just concede 1 progression for it, I feel like at some point Liiike is guaranteed to draw Sandman, right? And at that point, I feel like it's going to be so hard to prevent any progression the rest of the game. It's going to require some crazy combination of just again and again having Beauty Sleep plus something insane. I don't know how it's doable here.
Are we positive that Ricky is on Sandmans? I believe I've seen some Sigismar lists recently that have been dropping them in favor of other rares. So I'm not entirely sure if that's an option that they have in their deck.
I would be shocked at this point. I think like the vast majority of lists have been playing 2 copies, but I could be wrong. I'm not actually. I don't have access to Liike's list, but everything else I'm seeing from them looks really typical so far.
It's a Riso playlist.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, and actually it's working super well with the Monolith Root Scribe when it's played out, and then with the Templar actually being in hand. This could be looking really, really fire right now. But no, it's not enough mana, sadly. Okay, so I don't think if he's going to play it directly. It's the Whirling Call, okay. Boosting it up, being able to progress with that. So, Simon, what do you think? Who is getting the world qualifiers? The top
What
factions?
hero I think is going to win?
Yeah.
Or what player?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
All right.
If you ask
let me go
both.
double check. I'm gonna check the melee bracket and see what the current standings are. I would generally not be surprised at all to see either Kojo, Sigismar, or Afanis to win.
Yeah.
I think those are the three heroes that are the best positioned in this situation.
Yeah.
I think that Kojo has been criminally underrated for a very long time. People have heard me talk about this for a lot, but they do have some very good new tools to answer the best decks or the other best decks in this new format. Specifically the rare Duel of Grit, and then access to the mess means that they don't run out of the cards, which previously that was the issue with Kojo, was running out of cards and the card advantage being so hard to come by. So I think it's a toss-up between those three. In my biased opinion, I think that Kojo can beat those other two decks pretty handily. I think the Afanis matchup is a lot better now, and the Sigismar matchup is probably Sigismar favored, but they can win.
Yeah.
Specifically for players that I'm looking at that are in contention for the top 32. Pavina had a very good match on stream. They had a couple really good turns where they played very cerebrally. I felt like they did very smart plays when they were making decisions on where to place cards, what cards to play and when. I would not be surprised to see them win. Or Leith Fei has also been doing really well with Kojo on the online tournaments, and it looks like they are currently 8-1 for this event. So there's a good chance that they could also make it into the top 32. So if I'm betting the farm on Kojo, I would put it on one of those two players currently.
Okay.
I mean, Simon, ever the perpetual Kojo fan, but honestly, I think at this point, this is probably the most correct you'll likely ever be for that. I think this deck is really top tier. I think that, there has been some argument that it's not the tier level of Afanis and Sigismar, but realistically, especially with the matches that we have been seeing from the deck, just putting out in general, I think a well-constructed and well-played Kojo deck can take down either of those. And actually, I think it's against Afanis specifically, I feel like you might just be favorable now with Rare Duel of Grit specifically.
Yeah, I think that the Rare Duel of Grit makes that matchup a lot easier, just because you have so many tools now at your disposal to answer their characters. And because we are seeing higher sabotage counts too, you can actually cut off certain reserve cards that Afanis is relying on, whether it be a Katagiran Mage Dancer, whether it be trying to loop a Magical Training or a Beauty Sleep. Like, very well-timed sabotage effects have always messed with Afanis, but now that you have that coupled with, probably the best removal in the game, in my opinion, you have very clear pathways to winning that matchup instead of just being stalled out potentially.
Just nice. Want to say, Ricky,
hand,
thank you.
It's been a rough one here essentially for Erlea. They were able to play out that Loki, but did have to concede a progression for it, and it's sort of that dynamic I mentioned before. Even if they're able to draw good relevant things after that, you can't beat both sides, and let alone one. There is that Sandman additionally as well. It got everything. I honestly feel like the start that Erlea had this game did not cooperate whatsoever, especially going into a Sigismar matchup. I think they're so reliant on having a early ramp effect, and then specifically, if it's not that early ramp effect, you need at least some character to stick, especially one that has anchored. Double license withdrawal to open up into that anchored setup was absolutely...
And with that, I'm back in the kitchen. Good luck.
Okay.
Enjoy. Linkson, did, by the way, top for the demo deck event for AWOL, and the one that you did together with Equinox, Simon.
Oh, that's very interesting. I am excited to see what they can do. Did they play Atsadi in that tournament? Are they a Bravos fan?
They made the correct decision. They played Akesha.
They played Akesha.
Yeah, it was my guess that Akesha is winning, and I was correct. Just like want to say that.
And you know what, Pandy? I was right there with you.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what? It looks like from what we've seen, no Akesha's winning today. I mean, I'll be happy to see if there ends up being one in those top 32, but I'm sure we'll know more about that after the fact. But for now, it's just Basira against Sigismar, or as Freeloader did say, the villain. Looks like a mess opener for Basira, potentially. I'm really interested in what they're going to mana here. Opener for Sigismar looks good as well, just solid.
The interesting thing that I'm seeing with this Basira opener is that they currently do not have a way to make a boost on turn 1 unless they use the fleeting on this Fire Rabbit that they have in their hand. I think that keeping some sort of card advantage to play against the Sigismar is important, especially with the way that they are now playing sometimes things like the Jack Frost rare, which we can see in the Sigismar's hand. They're playing those Ortis Attorneys, those Monolith Legats, like ways to draw and find their own card advantage, and Basira can really struggle if they don't have those. So right now, if this is currently their hand that they're shuffling on the stream and the other cards got placed into the mana, I find it very interesting that they chose to put the mess into their mana that early.
The Basira is also the player who has to act first, the starting player.
Continue, guys. It's ringed on my draw. Continue.
No worries. Do you feel like that is a very big factor in this match, or do you think over the first couple turns, or first couple days rather, ends up equalizing out a little bit?
I think it truly depends on what is in the Sigismar player's hand. Right now, we don't have anything like the Baba Yaga, which is a ridiculously strong turn 1 play going second. But they do have that Aegis Templar, which I believe currently would stop and go over the Bravos Excavator if there were no other cards in play. But instead, they're opting for this Ortis Attorney rare. My personal opinion is that the first turn can be a very crucial one against Sigismar, but I don't think it's making the matchup any more percentage skewed than maybe like a 3 to 5% ratio. I don't think it's that important that if you are going first against Sigismar's Basira, you lose like 10+% win rate. I don't think it's that tough.
Notably, the card that was just scouted out by the Sigismar player, that Aegis Templar, has found its way into virtually all Ortis decks at this point as a 3-of. I think it's one of the absolute best inclusions into any Ortis deck, at common especially, from that new set, Whispers from the Maze. It's really good. It's sort of the way that License Withdrawal has also found its way into those lists. I'm pretty sure that was one that you were also really excited right off the bat. I'm pretty sure we chatted about that at some point. People got really excited about a different spoiler on the same day, and we were like, guys, the best card just got printed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I very distinctly remember both of us acknowledging and recognizing early that Aegis Templar and License Withdrawal were just two very powerful commons, and even the License Withdrawal rare, just those cards being stronger options than the other cards that people were worried about that had gotten printed. Just because the utility of these scout cards are very evocative of other card game mechanics that I'm familiar with, and the utility that they provide is just so strong. But it'll be interesting to see what the Basira can do. They have relatively good options now from their reserve. The Isamboshi has that support effect, so it can provide a boost to the next card played. So if they want to get statistics onto this Bravos Excavator to then channel onto the next card that goes into the reserve when they leave at the end of the day, that's an option that they have. But they also have a Unique and a Haven Sirengar in hand, which is allowing them to play to their quote-unquote mana curve effectively by playing a 2-mana card and another 2-mana card.
Yeah, and you know, the especially good thing for the Basira player about that Haven Seirengar in hand is that Sigismar got what is potentially the worst expedition reveal as well in terms of their own progression ability this day. They're on that forest-only terrain on the companion side, which means they're both going to commit resources to it, and they're likely just going to get so outstatted right off the bat on that side. It's I like that start a lot for Basira on this day, at least.
Yeah, and it's important to note that they also, the Haven Seirengar is going to be coming from the hand, so they'll be able to play it again next turn, so I would not be surprised to see them focus on winning this expedition that has the solo grass region, so that the first card they can play on their following turn would be that Seirengar from the reserve, already getting 2 mana for 3 in statistics on that one side.
Interesting line as well from Elise, taking things slow, deploying out that Aegis Templar again, just onto the companion side as well, though, actually, just to stall out here a little bit. That will give a progression over to the Basira player on that.
It will actually give 2 progressions, because of the way that Basira is working with the Isamboshi. They get to split the counters so that the Seirengar will have 4 grass compared to the 3 grass, and then they have 2 mountain compared to the 1 mountain. So the Basira now has retaken the lead while also having strong plays set up for the following turn.
The upside for the Sigismar player, though, the one thing that's really redeeming about that at all is that they do get to keep around an extra Ortis recruit, thanks to that leaves that expedition zone effect of the Templar. So if they're able to leverage that a little bit, it could be pretty good for them.
Okay, did I miss something?
Training? Not so much. Is that teamwork training? I don't recognize the art quite exactly.
It is teamwork training. Yeah, it is the Adventure Pass alternate art.
Gotcha. No wonder why I'm not recognizing it.
I'm curious to see what the Sigismar player is going to place into the mana here. We already are aware that the Basira player does not have as much card advantage due to using 4 cards already. Granted, the Haven Seirengar will draw a card when it leaves, but the Ortis Spy can be devastating on a follow-up turn if there's no options for the Basira to play anything. Of note, it looks like the players have forgotten to leave that token from the Aegis Templar last turn. Ooh. So there should be an additional Ortis recruit on that companion expedition. But I don't know if the players or judge staff have caught it yet.
Wow, yeah, and that one actually could be reasonably important as well. As we see already, there's multiple characters that are wanting, ideally, most probably, to contest on that side, especially given that there's now a play that favors that forest water terrain on the hero side at this point for the Basira. That is that Axiom Salvager unique that we saw flickering in the hand before. It does resupply from both halves of the card, and does have a pretty powerful ability when played from reserve as well if they already have a couple boosted characters. Now, Teamwork Training is taking out that Haven Seirengar, but it's going to get some good value for that. That's a really nice trade for the Bravos player.
Yeah, I'm very interested, because if they had remembered that token being there, I would not be surprised if they kept this Ortis Attorney around and instead played out that Ortis Crier onto that expedition instead. Knowing that they plan on removing the Haven Seirengar would potentially change a handful of options that they have. But yeah. I think that the Sigismar player is going to be in a pretty favorable position after this turn, especially with this Ortis Spy they've been keeping in their hand. They'll be able to sabotage one of the 2 cards that Basira has in their reserve. I'll be interested to see if they choose the Haven Bravos Bastion itself or the Axiom Salvager.
Pandy, how are you feeling specifically about that card Ortis Crier?
Best common for what nice. No, actually, why I like this card especially is just like the fact that this is like a super cool replacement, because the other 1-cost drops that you could potentially have was like either you got it like better as a rare version for Sigismar, for example like the Ortis Trooper, right? Just like by the stats that you're pulling out. And then you had like most of the time just like the Paper Herald as a common that you could potentially play, right? And with the Autoscry right now, I feel like you can actually put in the Autoscryer and actually remove one of the one cost rare, especially like the Foundry mechanic. Since if you're not going to be like a landmark related deck, then you can actually drop out that, putting in the Autoscryer and making like new space for new rares that you can potentially play. For example, like sometimes the Gift of Self that receive for others, for other things like a Jack Frost or something like that. So this is like a super cool card, and it's also just like the fact that you can potentially get a 3/3/2 out as a 2 cost. This is like super amazing for a common. So I would say by far the best common that actually come along with for all this, especially for Sigismar. Yeah.
For characters, or are we also including
characters? No, for spells it's Slice and Thrive Throw. For spells is a different topic, then I need to include some more. But for characters, it's like actually one of like actually really good options, because usually if you're going to be in the Sigismar, I mean we see it like if we compare it from set 1 to set 3, like the common cards baseline, except like that you also have like the AQZ Templar that you're going to be play, right, with like the super amazing scout effect. Actually, there was like not that big changes, because look, like the common characters were always sticking like the same common characters. So I'm super excited there are actually like new characters going to fit in. And beside your Autoscryer, it's also like the Templar that's going to be, and like super good cards for Autos, especially for Sigismar Games Plan. Yeah.
So things have been looking pretty good, I think, after day 1, especially for our Basira player. But I'm starting to worry a little bit, because one card that we did see in the hand of the Sigismar is the Sandman. And with this trade here, I'm starting to worry the closer this gets to players being adjacent, or even now just threatening to win off of a double progression. Even if Basira has good card advantage at this point, I'm worried about the potential for stats to get put on something and then just immediately slept while the that Sandman rather is still threatening to take an expedition.
Yeah.
It's definitely a worry at this point.
I think that that's a fair assessment. If we look at the context of the Sigismar player's hand, though, they currently cannot commit too many cards before playing the Sandman, especially now that I believe they are the player with the first turn marker. Or no, the opponent is. So actually, you're right. This Sandman has the opportunity to come down after 3 cards have already been played from our Basira player, which could entirely change the tide of one of these equal game state situations where both players are the same distance apart, but where a double advancement or a single advancement more than your opponent could mean the difference between winning the game or taking another turn.
There is also the chance for that hidden second mode of the Sandman of just sleeping your own character and giving it 2 boosts to come into play as well. If they do realize that they're not going to be able to take an additional progression with it, they might want to try to set up their plan for the next day just to be a little bit stronger against what the Basira is looking to do. I don't like that plan as much, simply because the Basira is working with so many more cards at the moment that having to spend them out like that, you feel like at that point the Basira is likely going to find a way to progress through still on one of the sides and at least bring it to a arena where I have to feel like Basira is probably significantly favored at the moment. Looks like that Excavator is the first thing that comes down from Basira, though.
I think the interesting thing here is that the Excavator is going to be in a good region where it's got that water spike for the solo water, while it's also something that the Sigismar player is contesting over. It'll be so interesting because now that this Orta Spy has been played from the reserve, there is almost no reason for the Basira player's Orta Spy from hand to ever touch the board on this turn. So if this Haven hits a 1-cost resupply, that's not good at all.
Yeah, it's an interpretation.
And what I'm realizing for the Basira is I don't think there's any ways that they can put boosts on anything this day either with the hero ability. The cards that we see from hand, they might be able to do that from reserve in the case of the Tiny Djinn, or anything that gets played out from reserve as a character thanks to the Bravos Bastion that's currently now in play. But otherwise, they're out of ways of triggering the Basira ability, and that might be super relevant this day.
It is extremely relevant because right now they are just hoping that the Sigismar has no option to play anything. Because this Tiny Djinn is providing 0 relevant statistics on the board, it cannot provide any expedition region that matters, or provide a boost with the Basira's ability. It needed to be a Fire Rabbit, and that would have potentially had something impactful, but still, I don't think it matters at all what the Sigismar player plays here. They just need to make sure that they have a character left on... Well,
I mean,
I suppose the Sandman
Sandman
doesn't need... Like, they don't need to play the Sandman here. They can play it safe and play the Templar on...
Yeah. It's true, because now the Intimidation we're going to be placed on, but I'd still feel like, I mean, like the good thing about the Intimidation is if the Auto Spy is coming down to just like going back to hand, right? Then you can potentially just like play it out on the next turn and getting rid of the Axiom Salvager.
Yeah, which completely cuts off.
Yeah.
They still won't be able to trigger anything with the Haven on the next turn either. So...
Oh, it stands victory, but it's not like that, guys. Don't worry, chat. Don't worry. Oh, this is a fast moving. It's a fast moving.
A mild glitch in the Matrix going on here. Or pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Regardless, yeah, that was a progression attained by the Sigismar, but things are not yet over, and now the situation does look a little bit better for the Basira. They should both have characters in reserve at least that can trigger that hero ability, and I mean they survived I think the hardest turn, but it's still going to be a challenging one to try to close.
The issue here is the removal spell was Intimidation. It was not a Duel of Grit. No. So the Sigismar player has access to this Orda Spy, which can cut off the one card that Basira has in reserve, which is that Axiom Salvager, which is meaning that they will not be able to trigger their Haven. They have this Bravos Excavator that's currently in play, so they only have the Salvager in the reserve.
Yeah.
And because they have the Ordish Trooper too, they have really strong plays for cheap mana that all they have to do is take one single expedition, and they'll just win this match.
Now, I'm thinking here from the perspective of the Sigismar player, what are you worried about? And my immediate thought here was, are you trying to keep that license withdrawal that goes into mana here, after all, to try to play against a potential Aklut to sabotage down your reserve? Or exhaust down, rather.
If you're worried about the Aklut, I think that it does not matter, because then you can just stack the statistics on one side. Because they still have this Tiny Jail and the Ortis, what's it called? The Aegis Templar, my bad, in hand, the Aklut is not that scary of a card in this situation, because they can trigger multiple cards from their hand before they play and commit to a board side. But regardless, we do see that Orda Spy come down, sabotage that Axiom Salvager, and an Orda Spy from the opponent coming down too, interestingly enough.
There is a potential punish here from the Basira player that they can potentially enact here on the Sigismar, given that Sigismar did miss a mana the previous day, I believe. That could become relevant here, especially if they are sort of trading 1-for-1 in terms of resources a bit over time, just Orda Spies matching one another. And notably as well, because Sigismar did have to sleep down that excavator the previous day, they by definition have a little bit of an advantage on that hero side currently, at least. So we'll see if they can leverage that at all, or whether just these aggressive pieces that are currently available for Siggy are maybe good enough to take it.
Playing out the Sandman anti-hero expedition, we see the Duel of Grit going to be down onto the Sandman, and with that...
Oh, that Duel of Grit is huge.
Yes, and it's actually... Actually, it could make...
The Duel of Grit is massive because the Tiny Jail is going to not be enough with what we know is in the Basira player's hand with that Bravos Vanguard. Because the Vanguard has an arrow to remove fleeting and give a boost. So the Basira will be able to be triggered. It's just a matter of, are they trying to tiny jail, or are they trying to use the scout ability of this Aegis Templar to put a token on the other side contesting?
That's right, yes. Okay, so still thinking. I mean...
Because the thing is, with the tiny jail, they actually cannot play the tiny jail, because then the Bravos player can replay either of those cards.
Yeah.
They have the mana to do so. So their only option is to really play this Aegis Templar.
Oh
and
no.
it's just a matter of...
Oh yes.
The Aegis Templar has to put the token and hope that there is no character from the Basira player to contest it.
But didn't he just 1 mana too much?
No, he only had 2 left. He spent 3 on the Ortis Spy, 2
on
the
okay,
Sandman,
alright,
and then 1... Yeah.
Alright.
So he has no more plays left. Our Sigismar player has no more plays left. So the Bravos player can play the Vanguard onto their hero, or their companion expedition.
Yeah.
Put a boost...
Boosting it up, and then with that...
They can boost up both sides, and they will double advance, stopping the Sigismar advancement, and it looks like they'll actually be able to win this game if they choose... It actually currently doesn't matter. They have advancement no matter what.